The Blues have a great mix of veterans and youngsters. Mark Hunter had 44 goals and Bernie Fedorko 34 in the regular season. The Leafs had 4 30-goal snipers: Mirko Freecher, rookie Wendell Clark, Tom Fergus, and 26-year-old Rick Vaive. Big Daddy Bob McGill was one of 3 young defensemen selected by the Leafs in the 1980 draft, along with Fred Boimstruck and Craig Muni. After 3 years with the Victoria Cougars, including a trip to the Memorial Cup, McGill jumped straight out of junior hockey to the NHL in the Leafs, playing 68 games in his rookie year in the 1981-82 season. McGill would play in 705 NHL games, including 2 tours of duty with the Leafs, amassing 1,766 minutes in penalties while scoring 17 goals. That's it? Big Daddy, 17 goals? That's all?
I could tell you every single one of them too, Joe.
I bet you could. Now, the first one is memorable.
The first one definitely was the most memorable. Was played in my hometown. I believe it was about my 9th NHL game. And obviously my parents, mom and dad, all my brothers and sisters, and all my buddies were at the game. And I remember taking a penalty in the first period. And
now
we were down.
Okay, 1766. That was the start there, yeah.
We were down 2-0 in the game, and when I took the penalty, I was a little cheesed off and yapped at the referee a little bit, and I ended up with 2 extra minutes. So here I'm sitting 4 minutes in the box thinking, oh, God, I'm going to come out of here and I'm going to get killed for this, especially if they score a goal or 2. But I remember just as the penalty is winding down, Wilf Paymont made a dive kind of as the pass between the 2 defensemen, and he chipped the puck out, and I stepped out of the penalty box, and I had such a clear-cut breakaway, I didn't take a stride from the blue line in. And I'm going in against Grant Fuhr, who I just played with the previous 2 years in junior, and I walked in and was going to try and shoot between his legs, and he kind of moved, and I just slid it on the ice and scored my first NHL goal. And
not a bad guy to score it against.
Yeah, not too bad.
Does he remember it as fondly as you?
We talked about it in years after that, and we joked about it when I came back to Toronto in 91, and we always had a good joke about it, but he was a great goalie, and it was what a feeling to score my first NHL goal, especially with all my friends and family there. It was a lot of fun.
Bobby, this year and this team, you, as I mentioned, Fred Boimstruck, Jimmy Benning, Craig Muni, all very young, green, inexperienced defensemen, and you all got thrust right into the fire, really, and it was baptism under fire for you.
Well, it was, and when we joined the league there, with 3 young guys on defense, Jimmy was 18 and Freddie and I were both 19, and it was quite an experience. And I think looking back on it, we certainly, all 3 of us, weren't ready to play in the NHL at one time, let alone on one team, and it was trial by fire. And a couple guys like Freddie, for instance, never really. He got sent down to the minors after his second year and really never came back, and he was out of hockey in 3 years. And I was fortunate enough to battle back after being sent to the minors. Probably the best thing that ever happened to me. And Jimmy went on and played a number of years, and I don't think Jimmy reached the type of potential that he thought he was going to have coming out of junior, the way he was gifted offensively.
Now let's go to 1986 and a Leaf team that struggled to get into position to be in the playoffs. And all of a sudden, you're in against the Chicago Blackhawks, and the people in Vegas didn't really think much of you.
Well, they didn't, but they didn't look into the statistics too much. I believe we were 37 points below them in the standings. But as you know, during the regular season, you play 8 games against your division foes. We were 7-1 against them, and the game that we lost in overtime. So we had a tremendous amount of confidence going into the playoffs against Chicago, and especially going into Chicago Stadium. As a team, we had a bunch of young guys, and I believe I would say probably at least half of the team, maybe more, was their first NHL playoff experience at all. And we were fired up and ready to go, and it was just fabulous, to go in there and win both games in Chicago and then come home. And it was never a better feeling, I think, when you saw those brooms go throwing out on the ice on Maple Leaf Gardens. And I tell you, that was a great experience, and really to see the city erupt the way it did. And it was the first time in my 5 or 6 years in Toronto that the people really had something to honestly cheer about and be proud of. And I mean, it was such a great feeling.
Kenny Reggett was a key part of that. Here's a young guy who had come out of junior hockey and like the 3 young defensemen who are now savvy veterans of about 2 or 3 years under their belt. Here's this young kid who's just been tossed into it as well. And boy, he played really well in that Chicago series.
He did. He played outstanding. I mean, Mikey, as we used to affectionately call him, Kenny just played awesome. And very instrumental. I mean, Chicago had a terrific team, with Savard and Larmer and Secord and those guys. But Kenny played super, and certainly, especially with killing penalties. I mean, he made the penalty killers look good, because anytime you have great goaltending, it's something that makes everybody's job that much easier. And he played outstanding, and certainly was one of the big reasons why we swept them in 3 games.
All right. Well, Bob McGill and his Leafs are down 1-0 to the St. Louis Blues as we get set for Game 2 of the Norris Division Final from the arena in St. Louis. You're watching Molson Canadian Maple Leaf Classics on Leafs TV.
In 13 games here, the Leafs have come up empty. It's been a frustrating 3 years since the Blues have been beaten by Toronto here at home. Good evening again, everybody. There's the referee, Bob Myers, Leon Stickle, Kevin Collins on the lines. I'm Bob Cole in the booth with John Davidson. The Maple Leafs come back again with Ken Raggett. Leafs are staying with the youngster. He lost his first playoff game here in Game 1. But he didn't get much help from the defense. Millen is in goal again tonight, JD, for the Blues.
Greg Millen was 2 games below 500 during the regular season, Bob, but he's undefeated, 3 wins in postseason play. Very aggressive, and we'll have to watch his style again tonight. Will it be as aggressive?
Wickenheiser, Flockhart, and Mark Hunter starting for the Blues. The Leafs out there with Wendell Clark, Courtnall, and Lehman, who goes in after the puck. Norwood, though, cleared it away. And the Blues start the first rush. Wickenheiser shoots one in. Off the boards, the Leafs covering up early, and they get it up across center ice. Courtnall couldn't move in. Here's Clark. Clark trying to hit Courtnall. It's picked off by Flockhart. Flockhart back in for St. Louis. He is stopped at the blue line. Couldn't get a shot, and Salming leads this attack. 4 Leafs are going in. Here's Courtnall's shot. First save of the game. Greg Millen. Blues trying to dump it out. Stopped by Salming. He backhands it over and in front. Salming again. But in front of the net was Ramage, and he is coming out. Ramage played it to center. Wickenheiser's shot not off the post by very much.
Ramage back in the lineup. They thought he would not be able to play. They thought originally Bobby had a hip pointer, but he's all right. He's in the lineup, started the game. Dan Maloney was a little concerned with his hockey club, especially in the third period of Game 1, and also the quick goals that they gave up. He said the ice here in St. Louis is not that good, and Bob, it was a very hot, humid couple of days here. It rained in St. Louis today, so I'm sure the ice will even be worse than it was in Game 1 for his club. That helps St. Louis, as Toronto is the better skating team.
Very warm here in St. Louis. The temperature closing in on 70 Fahrenheit. Pass to Federico as he came from the box. The Blues making changes. Brad Smith is in the lineup tonight and gets his first shift right here. It's his first playoff game of this season. He played 3 with Detroit last year. Smith is on there, number 29. Hopes of getting the Leafs fired up. Therrien's long shot. Here comes Smith on that far side, bumping his man down in the corner. Now he has to hustle to get back on side. And the Leafs dump it up to the line, and Ramage stopped it. Couldn't feed the pass to the left side. Ed Beers was covered. We've got a penalty coming up right off the bat here at 1:42 of this first period. And the penalty is against Toronto.
And Ramage right there went after Daou at center ice. At center ice, Ramage went after Daou. There was a high stick. Going to be called against the Maple Leafs. Things have erupted here. Got Roots and Babis going at each other right at center ice. There's Smith. Boy, oh boy, it didn't take long in Game 2 to get the emotions high here, Bob. There was a high sticking penalty coming to the Leafs, and I'm not sure if it was Daou or if it was Katsopoulos or whatever, but Ramage went over and took a run at Daou right at center ice away from the play. Keselowski and Smith are right in front of that Maple Leaf bench right now.
So it didn't take Smith long to get into the action. This is his first playoff game for the Maple Leafs, as I said. And he and Paslowski are going at it right at the Leaf bench.
Well, Ramage is already in the penalty box, so there's an extra Leaf on the ice, and that's Katsopoulos, who has not dropped his gloves. The linesman very busy trying to break this up, as is Bob Myers, who is now with Smith and Paslowski. And they're being ushered or pointed in the direction of the penalty box.
So along with a minor penalty to the Leafs, there will be major penalties now to both teams. The penalties have yet to be announced. We'll get them to you just as soon as we find out what has happened over there.
Root for high sticking and fighting. Smith for 4 minutes for roughing. Ramage for high sticking. Paslowski 4 minutes for roughing. And Pavis for fighting. Time of the penalties, 1:42.
1:42. Paslowski and Smith drew a pair of minors for roughing. They did not get major penalties.
The original penalty must have been against Bill Root then. And what happened after that was, when Daou was standing at center ice, Ramage came over after him, and that's why they evened up everything, so we should be playing at full strength.
A reminder, just about 15 minutes from now, the game will be underway in Edmonton, game 2 of that series. Calgary is there, of course, and leading the series 1-0, and we'll have the highlights for you here on Hockey Night in Canada.
Well, what's going to be interesting here, will this slow down the emotion of St. Louis when they skated onto the ice to start the game as fans were upstanding, singing the St. Louis Blues song? Will this slow them down a little bit?
Let's see what happens now. The Leafs with 5 skaters out there, and same thing for the Blues. Puck cleared in by the Toronto Maple Leafs. Smith in the box. Now Thomas ran into his man. Here's a shot for the blue line. It deflected just wide. It comes in front. Fergus! And the play had been whistled dead. But Fergus had a good chance. 5 was in front of the goal, and I think the net has been moved off the moorings again.
A lot of tricky plays by the Leafs. That puck bouncing very strangely, and Greg Mill went into the net awkwardly and knocked it off its moorings. Jacques Demers was 500 in regular season play throughout his career in the National League, and he's also 500 in the playoffs. 10 wins, 10 losses. And he said, listen, they've written a lot of nice things about me lately, but I love my players, and it's my players that are playing well.
The teams are even strength. 5 aside. Salming shoots one in. That's in front of the goaltenders, of course, at the far side. That's Thomas. He left it there. Rick 5 tried to one-hand it in front of the goal. Fergus comes in to help him. Norwood has 5 pinned on the boards. Fedorko is back there helping for the Blues, and finally they call it. And another face-off. This pace has slowed tremendously now in the first 2.5 minutes of this hockey game.
Rick Vibes appears to be all right, as he was slashed in game 1. He had some trouble with his left leg. Now, it appears they're going to use the same matchup, Fergus, Vibe, and Thomas, against Fedorko, along with LaValle and Hunter. Actually, they have Barr out there for the face-off in their own zone. But Vibe and that line played well. The other night, Fergus's line had 8 shots on goal. They played opposite Fedorko's line a lot, and Fedorko's line had 8 shots on goal, so they neutralized pretty well each other.
Fedorko and Fergus on the draw. Fedorko winning the face-off and slapping it behind the net. Norwood back there. Pass it out near the line. It goes all the way down the ice. Fedorko is going in quickly, so Rickett has to play it, and he dumped it away from Fedorko. Coming in was Barr. He was upended, though. The Leafs, Rick 5 goes in there. He's pinned on the boards. 5 gets back free, trying to center it. And the Blues start out. LaValle comes with the right winger, Barr. Barr threw one in on Rickett. LaValle upended. And another penalty coming up, and this one will be against the Maple Leafs. They'll be shorthanded this time. Play is called. And a penalty coming up here against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Salming gets the penalty.
He took his man away from the puck right in the slot area in front of the goaltender. Watch his stick knock him down before he can get to that pass. So the first man advantage of the game is going to go to the St. Louis Blues. Again, they're jockeying for possessions before the puck is dropped here, Bob.
That's Katsopoulos and Eddie Beers. They did some pushing, and the linesmen were in a hurry to make sure nothing developed. Leon Stickle there. Dropping the puck in. It comes to Bourgeois at the blue line. He kept it in over there. That was Bell. Mark Hunter with Eddie Beers. Beers in the corner. But it's going to be Therrien finding the opening to clear it.
Now what happens when St. Louis try to control a puck in that Toronto zone, if they don't have it good control of it, the Leafs will go at them. Katsopoulos did that on the last play, and he forced Beers off the puck, and they got it out of the zone.
Bell shoots it in, and the Blues come in after it. That's Hunter on the boards. Bourgeois near the line, has to hurry it off to the far corner. Dow over, and he swings at it and knocks it down the ice again. There's no score. First period, they played 3.5 minutes. And the Blues right now are on a power play. Gilmore, number 9, swings in front of the net. And it's Bourgeois starting up for Gilmore. Look out. He was stopped by Lehman. Lehman knocked it high over the glass and into the crowd.
Charlie Bourgeois playing right defense on the power play again. He was a pretty good offensive defenseman when he played at the University of Moncton. The coach when he played there was Jean Perron, who was coaching the Montreal Canadiens. Charlie Bourgeois has really been a bright spot since coming over from Calgary in that Joey Mullen trade.
He was a bright spot here at the arena in St. Louis in Game 1, that's for sure. Played a heck of a hockey game for St. Louis in that 6-1 victory, opening the series of a best-of-7. 50 seconds left in the Leaf penalty. Salming is in the penalty box. There's no score, and the Blues are starting out. Down to center is Lavallee, hitting the line, putting on the brakes. Now he passes back. Ramage had to take it behind him. He centered, right in. Reichert made a big save as he came out to challenge the shooter, Lavallee, and then he cut the angle on him, and he just did get his right leg on it. By the way, Canada defeated the United States today 4-2, and they're in the middle round. First game on Thursday against the Soviet Union, who shut them out 4-0 in the round robin. Now Millen, back of the net to dump it away. The Blues on a power play for another 20 seconds, and number 20, Hunter, comes in with it. Hunter feeds it off to the left. It's back here. Natras stopped by Kent Ruggett. Natras was sent home free, and Ruggett watching the play all the way. I believe, JD, he knew that pass was going that side.
That's good lateral movement by a goaltender, but again, a St. Louis Blues defenseman joining the play on the rush. Now watch them switch here. See all that crisscrossing? 3 Leafs were going after Hunter. Now the puck's going to go back, and Natras is open. Katsopoulos lunges and gets a piece of it, and when he got a piece of it, it was like a change-up shot coming at Reggett, who really concentrated, made another good save.
John, almost a carbon copy of the pass to Charlie Bourgeois in the first game Friday. It's obvious that's something that Jacques Demers has figured into the St. Louis attack. Worked pretty well for him. Nearly worked again right there. But Reggett made a big stop. Now Daou will send the Blues back. Penalty is over. Millen out of the net, so icing is called against Toronto Maple Leafs. Fergus with Thomas and 5. They shoot it in. Millen steers it to one side for Pavis. Pavis now knocked it on the boards. Couldn't get it out of the zone. The Leafs board checking. That is Salming pinching in. But the Blues are covering up again. Now they get it out across the line. Coming down is Hunter. Hunter was lined up by Nyland. He saw him coming and put on the brakes quickly. Blues hit after it. But here's Vi hooking the puck ahead. Thomas going in, and Fergus is in front. Thomas, rebound. Oh, a big play by Ramage. He pulled the puck out of the empty net just before it crossed the goal line. Here's Federico centering it. Reggett made a big save as Mark Hunter was in on top of him. 3 Leafs go the other way, led by Fergus. Fergus and Vive and across the line. Bell tried to clear it. He does. Gets it out across the line, and Iafrate moved up. Nearing the 9-minute mark of the first period. Still no score. Now the Leafs line up. Up the line is Poddubny. Comes through the middle. Poddubny, a pretty good move to bring it in. Took a shot. A high one, and Millen was not fooled. He gloved it, and he held it.
That's right, Bobby, slowing the play down as things start to pick up here a little bit. Toronto skating well. A 2-on-1. Pavis was trapped up in the neutral zone. Ramage was the only defenseman back. And it's Thomas on the off wing. Watch this snapshot, and he follows it up. as Milne makes a good save. He tried to pass it, couldn't pass it. He followed it up. Now watch Ramage come into the screen. He pulls the puck out as it was nearly going to go in. And then the other end, I have to talk again about. But now Thomas again on the off wing, a good shot. You see Ramage played it well, and Thomas couldn't pass the puck across to Fergus. That's a perfect play by the defenseman and the goaltender.
Ramage made the save. Saved a goal for St. Louis. They'll likely get another face-off now. They call it finally with 4 players in on the boards. And they'll have this face-off to the right of Greg Millen.
Jacques Demers with his hockey club. He's talking about his different players in the hockey team. He said how well they play, how much they give. What he does is give the team a lot of time off during this time of year. They don't practice too often as a full unit. He said their 4 playoff wins, they've only given up 8 goals in those 4 games. That's an average of 2, Bob. That's pretty good.
He had Brian Sutter in the warm-up tonight. He told me today he would have a look at him in the warm-up. He skated this morning. He looked pretty well, he said. Here's a chance for Reeds. Sutter did skate, but not dressed tonight. Bad shoulder. Blues are in again. Another high shot by Norwood is wide. And the Leafs Podumpny was checked at center as he made the play for Preacher. Preacher trying to stick handle in. He's not flying. Blues back checking. That's Cavallini shooting at the center. Nyland stops the puck. He goes to center and fired it in again. And the Leafs make changes. Nearing the halfway mark, first period. Still no score. There have been chances, though, at both ends. Paslowski couldn't control it. Gilmore to Paslowski, and that's blocked by Ragged JD. He comes out and cuts the angles, and he's standing up again tonight. Live on CBC, Stanley Cup 86.
No score, first period. Blues and Leafs in Game 2 of the Norris Division Final. And you're watching Molson Canadian Sunday Night Classics on Leafs TV. Midway through the first period, no score in the arena in St. Louis. You talked about the Chicago Stadium. That barn in St. Louis was a noisy spot. I don't know, are there any fans in the history of the National Hockey League that clapped as much as the people in St. Louis? And of course, that organist got everybody pumped up and everything else.
They get that song going on the organ, and it's just wild, eh? And you know, they really are. They're great fans there, and I think that they really, you know, they are very instrumental in their team, you know, getting on rolls where the crowd gets behind them and the place just really erupts.
The ice was awful though, Bobby.
It was so hot. Like we went, you know, when we went into that rink, I mean, during the day, you'd go out to the pregame skate in the morning and it was probably 75 degrees at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. And I'll tell you, like it got so hot during the day there that we really thought, we didn't think that the ice was going to freeze. You know, later on, I think in the series, as it went along, when we went there was big pools of water that never froze on the ice at all. But in this game, it actually wasn't too bad.
Now, after beating Chicago and getting ready for St. Louis, you were a little busy yourself.
Yeah, my wife and I, our daughter was born, actually my firstborn child. I have 3, but Mandy was born, I think it was a Saturday night we played against Chicago to finish them off. And on the Monday morning, the day before we left to go to St. Louis for Game 1, my daughter Mandy was born on the 14th of April. And
so you left to go to St. Louis and get some sleep.
Yes, I did.
Like every other father. Now, Marion Stastny has played with the team this year, but is not dressed yet. Motor City Smitty gets into the lineup, and he's obviously in there for one reason, and that is to bring the energy level up.
Well, and he certainly does. I think that, you know, he was chomping at the bit to get in there, and, you know, as everybody grew to know and knows Motor City Smitty, he runs at the mouth. It's Motor Mouth Motor City Smitty. And, you know, he gets under the other team's skin and, you know, and he brings that energy to the game. And, you know, he gets the guys in the dressing room going. He gets the guys on the bench going. He gets the other team riled up. And he just really causes a lot of things out there. And it was a real big inspiration to our team.
And when it was time to settle things, when the clock wasn't running, he could do that too.
Absolutely. You know, he took care of himself, and you know he could handle himself with his fists too, but his mouth certainly did most damage, I think.
All right. Well, Motor City Smitty, or Motor Mouth Smitty. What was his name again? Anyway, Brad Smith is doing his job, and so is Bob McGill. Scoreless, though, in Game 2. Let's go back upstairs.
Ken Reget's had 7 shots to contend with. Greg Millen 4, and I'm really impressed with the position of Ken Reget on the shots. Bobby really is standing up, and challenging, and in real good position before the shot's taken on him.
That's Nyland. He's back on the defense with Salming and gives it to him. Salming comes to center ice. Salming leading this rush. Put a shot in. Millen blocked it. Left it for Ramage. Ramage of St. Louis into the corner. Pavis cleared it to the line. Gilmore takes a look. Dropped it back to Ramage. Ramage lost it against Courtnall. Poked it off from near center ice. Clark missed it. Leafs pick it up. That's Lehman throwing it back. Salming to Nyland. And it's called again. Maybe more penalties coming now.
The 2 number 9s, Courtnall and Gilmore, were roughing each other up as Gilmore had come over to the St. Louis bench for a line change. There was a collision, and then Courtnall retaliated, and right away Bob Myers blew the whistle. I'm sure he's going to stay right on top of everything now after those early skirmishes.
The game in Edmonton just now about starting. And Dave Hodge is watching that for us. We'll have the highlights. Calgary leading the series 1-0.
In that game, Lemelin is going to be the starting goaltender. As Mike Vernon from Calgary has problems with a knee.
2 minutes for slashing. Time of the penalties 10:05. Courtnall for
elbowing to Courtnall. Gilmore got a slashing penalty. And the Leafs come in after the puck. Here's Clark. And a high shot, a wicked shot too, but it was a little too high. It's centered, and Mahar is coming out for St. Louis. He gets to center. He has Beers with him. Here's Eddie Beers. Oh, nice save by Reget. And Reget will hang on to it now. A good backhander along the ice by Ed Beers. And I'll tell you, Reget was very quick to stop that shot. First goal so important, it seems, between these two teams. Paid off for the Blues, I'll tell you, in Game 1. Then that flurry. 2 goals in 7 seconds. And that was just about it. Turned out it was for the Maple Leafs. Salming at the blue line. Thomas flipped it ahead. Fergus now played a high one in on the boards. And that's Lee Norwood back with the net. He'll give it to Netfris along the boards on the other side. He is stopped by Fergus. Blues get it out though. Hunter goes down the other side. Hunter breaks in around Aya Brady. He's right in there. And Reget poked it away. Now Hunter once again coming back to the blue line to Netfris, but it's outside the line. And the Blues have to hustle to get back on side. Salming put the grab on Norwood, who is in deep. 8:35 to play in the period and still no score. That's Inachak near center. Bad pass though. Netfris grabbed it and moved back up. Now Vide stopped Reeds and shoots it in across the St. Louis blue line. Norwood back. Inachak watching him. It comes to the line. Dubney couldn't keep it in. He poked it back to Bill Root. Root got it ahead as far as center. Dubney nailed LaValle at center ice. Here's Inachak trying to go in. Ramage had him covered, and Norwood takes the puck behind the net. Played it off the boards and out. Root stopped it near center. The Blues up after it. That's Cavallini. Weak shot. Hit the boards behind Reget and came out the other side for Inachak to skate away with Root, the defenseman. Root up on the play. Chasing Pavis. Gave him a bump on the boards. Here's Inachak going in there. Preacher steals it. Preacher looking around for someone open. That's a tough chore to find with this St. Louis team. Here's Nyland shooting. Oh, and it dribbled off his skate and just missed the far side. Leafs continue to forecheck, and we're getting more penalties now. Inachak and maybe Ramage.
Time of the penalties 12:20.
There's Inachak in the penalty box. Ramage is the St. Louis player in the box. Penalties coming at 12:29 of this period. Both for elbowing. Coincident minors. All the teams at full strength. Salming trying to keep the puck in, but it went by him, hit the boards, went right down to Reget. That's Nyland going back. Nyland starting up. Played a pass through the skates of Fergus. Bourgeois shoots it back to Bell, and he wasted no time shooting it out. Leafs are offside. Play is called again.
The word on Doug Wickenheiser is the fact that he cut him, or has a cut below his eye. He will be back once the proper repairs are made. And a big crowd here in St. Louis. Again, it looks like a similar crowd to the other night, which was around 17,000.
They're nearing the 13-minute mark of the first period here in St. Louis. And there is no score in the hockey game yet. And they're very physical tonight, John Davidson. They've been bumping from the opening face-off.
Much more physical than game one, and you'll see that happen in a series, Bob. Of course, the emotions get higher and higher, but Toronto's game is to forecheck and have the speed to get into that St. Louis zone. Here we have Charlie Bourgeois. He's going to get the penalty, and Toronto will have their first power play of the series, or of this game, excuse me. Watch Bourgeois here. He retaliates a reaction penalty against number 4 of St. Louis, and power play time for the Leafs, the first one of this game.
That's the 11th penalty of this first period.
And I guess that means emotions are up.
6:55 to play. Opening period, no score. Leafs power play now. Maloney wants more shots on this power play. Salming to the far side. Iafrate back to Salming. He's stopped by Gilmore, who came out to him. Puck goes into the corner, though. Now 5 goes in, trying to root it loose. But Norwood falling on the puck. He freezes it, and there will be a face-off in the St. Louis zone.
Now, we've talked a lot about the fact that Greg Milne's an aggressive goalkeeper, as Charlie Bourgeois is setting out his elbowing minor. Now, he likes to go out and challenge shooters. Now, with people standing in front, how much is he going to be able to leave that goal crease and go out and challenge a shooter? During that last flurry, it was Rick Vaive that was standing right outside the top of the goal crease on Milne. That may be upsetting to the veteran goaltender.
Fergus is on there with Thomas and Vaive, Salming and Iafrate. A power play, Toronto. Comes back to the line. Iafrate's quick shot, deflected away. Comes back in for another shot. Stopped by Millen. Iafrate at the blue line. Lobbed it in on the boards. Back to Iafrate. His drive. He telegraphed that one. Waited a little too long, maybe a second. That means a lot. And it was deflected. 6:24 remaining in the period. No score. A minute and a half left on the Leaf power play. And Iafrate stops the puck near center. Pushed it ahead. Lehman trying to get it in along the line to Courtnall. It didn't work. Courtnall's line is on. That means Clark on the left side with Lehman on the right. And here's Courtnall coming in. Courtnall stops. Clark is in there. Got it back. Salming in a good spot. Shoots. Rebound is there. And Lehman couldn't find it in time. Leafs stopped the puck near center ice. Salming takes his time. Back for Iafrate.
But the Leafs power play 1 for 4 in game 1 of this series. They're 6 for 19 overall. Only Hartford has a better power play of the teams left in the playoffs.
Courtnall in there on the boards, but the Blues are going to clear it. They get it out across the line. That's Gilmore. Iafrate gave it to him then. And Gilmore bumped by Iafrate. Lehman comes back. Good play to center ice. Sets Courtnall moving. Now he shoots it in. 30 seconds left on the Leaf power play. There's no score in this opening period. Here's Wendell Clark taking a hit, but he carries on and centers it. And Millen, the goaltender, was watching for the pass out, and he stopped it and held it. Bourgeois has 24 seconds left in his penalty, and the Leafs come on again with Inachak, Podubny, and Freacher.
We're talking about Wendell Clark. Remember, he was a Notre Dame Hound. They won the national championship for midget hockey over this last few days as they beat the Toronto Red Wings 8-5 in Moncton, New Brunswick. And Wendell was pretty happy today.
Leafs win the draw. Shot by Root. Missed the net on the short side. Norwood slapped at it. It got by Root and goes down the ice. Reggett stops it with 15 seconds left. And the St. Louis penalty. They've killed another. And the Leafs back deep will just move it out now. With 5 seconds left in the penalty, they get it up to center, and Root shoots it. It's stopped. Kozlowski nearly broke away. Nyland was covering up, though. Good thing. Here's Gilmore. He's upended by Podubny. Puck comes to Inachak. He and Freacher go in. Here's Freacher. Freacher made a pretty good move. Podubny with him. Pass to Podubny. He centered it. Inachak there. There's the puck along the goal line, and Millen hit it with his skate and looked over He saw it, and he went down in a hurry. There's still no score.
The Leafs taking the body, create opportunities. Watch here as Greg Milne loses it for a moment, and then he captures his composure and finds a loose puck as that's really bouncing all over that goal crease. But the Leafs are much using the body much like they did against Chicago, Bob, and you can see their plays improving because of that.
Creating a few openings inside that St. Louis blue line. That is something that was not evident in the first game here.
After about the 5-minute mark, the shots were 4-1 in favor of St. Louis. They're now 11-8 in favor of Toronto, so there's been a 10-4 swing there. The Leafs come on a little bit.
Daou is on the ice with Brad Smith on the right and Tyrion on the left. And the Blues have Mahar, but there's Smith stopping the puck near the blue line. He takes a hit as he flipped a high one. It went into the crowd, so they'll bring it outside the blue line.
Brad Smith doing his thing. Remember, we'll be going to the Calgary-Edmonton game during our first intermission. Lemelin and Fuhr are the starting goalkeepers. Edmonton made 3 changes for that game, Bob. I believe McSorley's out of the game, Tikkanen's out of the game, and Steve Smith's not playing. In their place, they have Suominen, Lumley, and Don Jackson, the defenseman. I think with Lumley in the lineup, that could be a little bit of a rough one there. He likes to disturb things on the ice. They're still scoreless in the first. And that should be a good one as we're going to join them during the first intermission.
I'll tell you, if Calgary can win another up there, it'll be heavy sledding for the defending Stanley Cup champions. You know, the pressure now is right on the Edmonton Oilers. There's Smith going in to bump with Bourgeois, and they'll get another face-off in the St. Louis zone. And they'll get some more pushing and shoving.
Well, Brad Smith has done his job here. It's obvious that he's irritating the opposition. Here, Bourgeois and one of the other Blues has gone after him. Now, he missed the last 5 games of the regular season, plus the playoffs. You can see him, he's all elbows and stick and everything else. But his job is to go out, irritate the opposition, get the emotions up for his club, and he's doing it. Now, Charlie Bourgeois has been very effective for his hockey club since coming over from Calgary. He doesn't want to spend the night in the penalty box.
Cordnell against Gilmore. And from the draw, that's Cordnell. Gilmore hooked it away. Flockhart and Barr, the 2 wingers for St. Louis. And Flockhart dumped a light one in for Reggett. And the goaltender covers up. I don't know if that's a good move or not. Now with 2 St. Louis Blues in deep, I don't know, John, if you'd smother that puck or clear it where Lehman was circling to the far side.
It's not a bad idea, but it's a split decision or a quick decision that the goaltender has to make. And I think he has a lot of confidence in his centerman. I thought St. Louis did a great job winning faceoffs during game 1. Maybe Kenny Reggett just has a lot of confidence in himself. That's the way he's looked here in the first period.
See what happens. Daou, in fact, wins the faceoff. And Kotsopoulos back of the net. Starts out for Daou. Pass on his skate, but he controlled it well. Then Courtnall slapped it in. Lehman is coming in after it. Lehman went to the far side, and Flockhart got it away. Wendell Clark went in and threw a check at Dave Bard, knocked him flying. Pass goes into Lehman a little too far. The goaltender out. Clark has it to Courtnall. He's trying to deflect it. He was going the other way. Root at the blue line. Shot, low one. That's knocked away by Ramage. Now the Blues organized and they clear it out. On the left side is Flockhart coming up. Flockhart rolled it in. And again, Reggett goes down and slows the play. And now Clark is going to go after Bard. He flattens him.
He threw another one when Barr was down, too, and caught him pretty good. That all started from back in the St. Louis zone when Wendell Clark went at Barr and knocked Barr off balance and then down. When you get involved in a scrap with Wendell Clark, you have to brace yourself because not only does he throw the punches, but he skates forward at the same time, and he's so powerful.
Dave Barr got up and he said, "What was that?" And he apparently hurt himself when he fell.
Well, Bob, he was down on the ice, and when he was down, Wendell Clark had one last shot in and nailed him pretty good. There's only 3:22 remaining in the first period, so the players are ushered to their respective dressing rooms.
Only 3:22 left in the period and still no score. Now this is a tougher game, this one tonight.
Much more aggressive. Jacques Demers, I think, expected it too. He said that Toronto tried to run him out in the third period the other night. You're seeing a much more aggressive Leaf team here.
There's Salming back there, gets away from one check, hooked a high pass that had to be knocked down by Rick Vye, and he threw it ahead too far for Thomas. Fergus now near the blue line, nearly went in, but Hunter lifted his stick. Federico starts back for St. Louis, stopped by Nyland. The Leafs go back to pick it up. Rick Vye nearly lost it against Hunter, who was in watching him. Now Vye takes the pass. He was hit at center, but there goes Thomas in for a shot, and he couldn't get a decent shot away. The puck bounces to Vye, and the goal has been knocked off the moorings again. Norwood, the defenseman, crashed in there. I don't know if he hit the goaltender or not, JD. He might have brushed him.
I think he got both the goal net itself plus the goaltender, and he seems to be hurting. It appears to be his right side. Quite a collision. Leon Stickle now repairing the area to put the goalpost back on those magnets. Quite a collision. The Vibe took a pretty good body check in the center ice from Bourgeois, and that enabled him to dump the puck off. Look at this. Bourgeois stands up on him, but he got the pass to Steve Thomas. Now Thomas, a little bit too much of a windup. And look at this. The puck goes over top of Milne. He's out another 10 or 12 feet. And then the collision right there between the goaltender and Norwood, and the net was knocked off its mooring.
Leaks in, and a nice shot from that far side. Just missed the far post. A little bit off target, not much. Millen had the right hand up. He might have got a piece of it. Fergus coming back, shoots it in with 2.5 minutes left in the period. Now Millen dropped it in behind the net, and the Blues can't get out. Thomas steals it. Thomas to Vye. Quick shot, stopped by Millen. Vye didn't get much on it. He was off on the far side, and he let it go, kind of off balance. The Blues are in again. LaValle put it in for Federico, but he was offside, and the play is called with 2:10 left in the period. Coming up to the 8-minute mark now, this first period. Shots are 12-8 for Toronto. If that matters, there's no score. The Blues in for checking. With 1:55 to play in the period, near center, it's dumped ahead. In goes Mahar, but Reagan tapped it up on the glass with a goal stick. Ramage went in, bumping with Katsopoulos. Here's a shot by Ramage up the line, and that's blocked. That was Reeds in there running into the Leaf defenseman.
Reed's a good hockey player. There's another good hockey player, Ricky Mahar. He's 32 years old, and he has been outstanding for the hockey club because he's been able to play different positions. He had to play left wing somewhat with Sutter injured. He can play center ice. He's a great faceoff man.
Bourgeois played it back. Norwood got it ahead. The Blues dump it in. Cavallini is coming in after it. Katsopoulos is back there. And again, the puck goes over the glass into the crowd. With 1:28 left in this first period. And JD, it has slowed down now, and that's from the hitting.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of work along the boards in this hockey game. A lot of grinding style of play. Inachek's line did not play well during game one. He does not take many faceoffs for the Leafs. Dan Maloney is not too excited about the way Inachek works on faceoffs. He's just simply not that good. In fact, way earlier in the season, they had Walt McKechnie come down and try and help out Inachek on the faceoffs, but he's been going with Fergus and Daou in that Leaf zone.
To get Fergus to help him.
Yeah, Fergus is very good. Absolutely.
Federico, not bad for St. Louis either. Let's watch this one. It's always important. Dying seconds, minutes of a period. Down to 1:25. Leafs win the draw. Thomas shoots it out. Here's 5. And again, he failed to get a good shot away from that wing. They hold it up along the boards behind the St. Louis net. Now it's kicked loose, and they freeze it again. Finally, Myers calls the play, and this will bring about a face-off in the St. Louis zone. Fergus again against Mahar on this draw. Mahar, he's swift winning that one. Millen, the goaltender, dumped it along the boards. Hunter trying to get it out. The Leafs keep it in. It's into the corner again. Thomas went in there. Nobody in front of the net, though. And a minute left in the period now. That's 5 in there bumping with his man, but the Blues get it out to Hunter. Hunter comes away from Salming, coming in. Mahar's in front of the goal. And the Leafs, I am afraid he broke it up, and there's a penalty coming up now against the Maple Leafs. It could be Thomas who is going. Took the St. Louis player into the boards at the far side. Iafrate is rather upset. And it is Thomas going. There he is.
Well, Thomas came all the way back with Mahar into that Maple Leaf zone like he's supposed to, but he was far too aggressive when he got to the right of Ken Reggett and ended up knocking him over. Watch right in front there. Mahar started and initiated the play, then Thomas knocks him down. He got himself into trouble. Mahar actually skated by and gave Thomas a shot, and Thomas retaliated. And there's 46 seconds remaining in period one, so don't have that much time to try and get a power play goal. The St. Louis Blues will. Gilmore, watch him. He likes to set up behind the net. He's very good at it. He draws a blue jersey towards him, and then he passes it into the opening.
It comes right back to Ramage near the line. On the other side, Norwood stopped by Daou. He and Therrien skate to center. 40 seconds left. Therrien lost it. And Fedorko will circle the net. 30 seconds left in the period. St. Louis have a power play. There's no score yet. And the Blues trying to do something about that fact now. Hunter is coming in. Played along the boards. Hunter went after him. The Leafs nearly break away. That's Daou. Can he do it? Daou in there. Shoots. And Millen out about 25 feet to block that shot. 15 seconds left in the period. And the Blues stopped at the Leaf line again. Therrien away. 7 seconds left. Therrien gives it to Katsopoulos. Shooting. And that's deflected by Pavis into the crowd with a second left on the clock.
Therrien's just going to try and shoot this as soon as it's dropped.
There's the horn, and the period is over. The shots, Maple Leafs outshot the Blues 13-8. And the score at the end of the first period, Blues nothing, Maple Leafs nothing.
No score at the end of the first period in Game 2 of the Norris Division Final between the St. Louis Blues and the Toronto Maple Leafs, as we're taking Bob McGill back to April 20th, 1986. The Hound Line has been a group that was kind of put together, I guess, and then very quickly the moniker attached to them because they'd all went to Notre Dame College out in Wilcox, Saskatchewan. But Russ Courtnall, Gary Lehman, and some guy who used to play defense who now is a high-scoring forward, Wendell Clark, have been put together, and they've captivated the city a little bit, haven't they?
You know what they have? It's been unbelievable, Joe. I think that those three young guys came together and they really they formed an instant bond, and it was like they've been playing together for years. And Wendell was the kind of guy going up and down the wing, and had the terrific shot and would just crush people. Russ had the speed and darted in and out. And Gary Lehman was the guy that could finish, and certainly he had some great hands, and some of the things he could do with the puck were just unbelievable. But the three of them together, I thought, played magnificently, and it shows here again tonight just how good they are.
Wendell's arrival here as the first pick overall in the draft, really, for many years, it was the thing to watch. Yeah. And you're right. I mean, his desire to be physical, even though his body really wasn't of a heavyweight, was something. And when it was time to drop the gloves, if you weren't prepared to fight Wendell Clark, you took the first 5 right in a row.
Yeah, I've been there and done that, Joe. I remember his first training camp. Had a couple of fights with him, but I mean, he was. I mean, he's just a true competitor, and he's sort of an unassuming guy. He sits back. He's not very boisterous or anything like that, but he does his speaking on the ice. And, whether it's the big body check or the big shot for the goal or dropping his gloves with the heavyweight of the league, Wendell Clark was just, he was what the Toronto Maple Leafs were all about. And, when he arrived upon the scene in '85 in this training camp, I mean, it was like a big, huge breath of fresh air was injected into this organization. And obviously, the years that he was here, he'll never be forgotten, obviously.
34 goals this year, and you're playing at times with a guy who's been here for many, many years. Number 21, Boreas Alming, has really had to change his game because of how the team has gone through a transition. And back with Sittler and McDonald and people like that, he was an offensive threat all the time, and you saw that. But now he's playing with a lot of young kids, and he's changed his game, hasn't he?
I think he's become a more well-rounded player. Before, when I first came in '81, he was one of those guys where he did everything that was sort of taboo for a defenseman to do because he was he was so skilled. He could skate so well. He could cheat and all those little things. But as the years have evolved here, and our team isn't as good as it was, like you say, in the 70s when he first came in the early 80s, I think that his overall game has become that much better. And I mean, just to watch him out here, I mean, it's just, I'm in awe. Like it really blows me away how good he is.
And you mentioned that when we were talking that when you played with him, you obviously had a great appreciation for what he's done. But being removed from it now, and as you watch this game, it does conjure back some memories, and you think, my goodness, how good this player was.
I can think back over my career where, the first time I saw him where he was in the corner and he stood on top of the puck with his skate, and two guys were one on each side pushing side by side, and all of a sudden he just whipped it out between his legs and jumped out, and away he went, and the other two guys kind of stood there and looked at each other and was like, what's going on? And I mean, he did things that really were so far ahead of everyone else. And as you say, to watch him look back on his career, or watching him now, I mean, it really amazes me how good he really was.
And he embarrassed all of you guys the first day he arrived at any kind of a training camp or skate.
Unbelievable. We would skate up in Scarborough for a month before training camp, and he'd show up 3 days before camp was ready to start. He'd come back with his family back from Sweden.
Hadn't been on ice.
Hadn't been on the ice once all summer, and he throws his skates on, and I mean, it was like a mockery. He made a mockery of the game. I mean, the guy was so talented, but the way he skated, he was so fluent, and he glided on the ice like nobody else I'd ever seen on the ice, and probably still haven't to this day.
Well, Borje Salming and the Leafs are scoreless with the St. Louis Blues in Game 2 of the Norris Division Final. We're back with April 20th, 1986, as you're watching Molson Canadian Sunday Night Classics on Leafs TV.
Wickenheiser is back. We mentioned that he was cut below the eye during that first period, and he went for repairs. Wendell Clark and Barr had a scrap late in that first period. Well, I'll tell you, Wendell Clark gets involved in those scraps. He just doesn't throw the arms. He charges and uses the legs and the upper body, everything.
Okay, JD, now power play for St. Louis. And they move the puck in over the Maple Leaf blue line. Fedorko centered it. Lavallee! And Reckett somehow got a piece of it. Hit him on the arm and bounced away. Good shot by Lavallee. But Reggett got his arm on it. Now the Maple Leafs can't clear the puck out. Bill Root is back there in the corner against Hunter. In on the boards. Puck squirts loose for Daou around the net. He looks for the opening. Can't find it. It comes near the line, and it's knocked away by Tyrion.
Bob, on that play, Daou was skating with the puck. Katsopoulos cuts across, picks the St. Louis player, and gives him time.
Lavallee again with a shot. And that didn't miss by much. Leafs, shorthanded, shoot the puck down the ice. Offside called. And now 25 seconds left in the Steve Thomas penalty.
Vasilevsky, of course, has the speed that the St. Louis Blues need up front. He had been in 12 former playoff games with St. Louis going into this season, and he had only one assist. But he's caught fire and has done a great job with the hockey club this year in the playoffs, as he has the 6 goals and 3 assists, 9 points. He's only behind Gilmore as far as team scoring goes this season in the playoffs.
Hat trick in a game at Bloomington. And a very big game for the St. Louis Blues because they're here against the Maple Leafs and lead the series 1-0, winning the first game 6-1 on Friday. The Leafs can't get it out again. Blues on a power play. It comes to Norwood. Norwood fires it in front. And Reagan made a big save. Looking for the puck. It came loose. But Reagan made a big save. And the puck is over the glass into the crowd. And now only 1 second left in the Maple Leaf penalty. Thomas is ready to come back on.
Well, St. Louis like to jam up the front of the net, and then they move the puck across the top in front. Now watch this pass right across. Reagan has to go a long ways to get to the shooter, which he does. And again, a good save on Vasilevsky. St. Louis crowd that crease area, the lower slot area, and then move the puck from one side of the ice to the other above that slot. And therefore, Reagan's got to get on his horse and move a long ways across that goal crease. He did it again, and he did it in control again, and he made a good save as St. Louis put the pressure on with the power play.
1 second left in the Maple Leaf penalty. Thomas standing up over there, ready to come on. Leafs have just about killed this one. They must clear the puck out, though, winning this face-off. The Blues want to win it with Fedorko on there against Fergus. Fedorko won it. It comes back. Bourgeois shot. It's tipped into the crowd, and Thomas is on the ice again. And the Blues, John, here in the second period at the start, mind you, they did have the man advantage. So just a few seconds ago, have taken the play to the Maple Leafs.
Well, I'll tell you why teams do well on penalty killing. Anytime you see a game where when one team's been 0 for 5 on the power play, it's generally good goaltending, and that's what makes good penalty killing. We've seen good goaltending on both ends of the ice in this hockey game, both Millen and Riggett, and that's why neither team has fired and scored on the power play.
Again, Fedorko winning the draw. They didn't do it fairly. They'll do it again. Hunter on the ice with Fedorko and LaValle for St. Louis.
Fedorko had a younger brother, Ken, that belonged to the St. Louis Blues. He now plays senior hockey in southern British Columbia, where he's the leading scorer for his club for the past 2 or 3 seasons. So hockey's been a large part of the Fedorko family.
Fedorko winning more than his share of faceoffs in this game. Wins another here for LaValle. On a sharp angle, it's centered. Cleared away by Reggett, and here comes Rick Vaive. Coming up to the line, takes his shot, goes after the rebound. Fergus has it, centered it, and Millen watched that one come over and knocked it away with a stick. Vaive in there again. Gave it to Thomas, going in, center to Fergus. Oh, and Millen got a piece of that. Another shot. Vaive couldn't get to it. And the Blues cleared out. Fedorko to center. It's opened up a bit now. Here's LaValle going in, shooting, and down goes Reggett to make a big save. Great action now at this part of the second period. The Leafs came very close, and then the Blues right after that. Back again for Rick Vaive on his favorite spot with a shot, and he drilled it right at Millen, who covered the angle, and Millen made the save. Still no score. They played 2 minutes and 11 seconds of the second period. More action now in this hockey game. It's opened up a little bit. Coming up to the 3-minute mark of the second period. And the Leafs and the Blues here in St. Louis are scoreless in the game. The Blues in after the puck. It's centered. Reggett looked down. He knocked it away with a skate, then the stick, and the Leafs lose it near their own blue line, but the play was whistled offside. They played 2 minutes and 31 seconds of the second period, and still no score. Good goaltending here to start the second.
And Mark Reeves, who Jacques Demers says is underrated, one reason he's underrated is because of his play and how he works in the dressing room. He tries to keep the players up, tries to keep them involved. This line of Reeds, Mahar, and Cavallini is noted as the defensive line on the Blues Hockey Club. That last play, they were forcing it and had a goal-scoring chance.
Maple Leafs cleared out across the blue line. Inachak was stopped by Mahar. He was all over him. Now the Leafs moving up the center is the veteran Salming. He's knocked flying, and 2 Blues come back, led by Mahar. Coming in there with Norwood, and he missed the pass. Reggett out cutting the angle. Puck goes flying high over the glass into the crowd.
I afraid he made a good play as he broke up that pass. And that looks like Norwood, who fell into the boards heavily, having trouble with his left leg. Norwood's been outstanding behind the blue line for St. Louis. That time he was up leading the charge. Salming was hooked right near center ice. Now watch Salming get hooked and knocked down, and that sets up the play, a 2-on-1. Here's the hook. He loses his balance. A 2-on-1 coming the other way with St. Louis. Now Norwood ends up going into the boards and gets hurt here. Watch him lose his balance. Bang, he goes in heavily, twisted that left leg, and he's still being attended to by Norm Mackey, the trainer of St. Louis.
Norwood getting up slowly, and he now is being helped over to the St. Louis bench.
Very difficult to tell what the problem is. Obviously his left knee, as it was twisted underneath him as he went into the boards, but will that tighten up during the game? Or will he be able to get back and at least play the rest of this one, Bob?
He's had a solid series in that first series against Minnesota and in the first game of this series on Friday night. Hot Kotsopoulos is there in front of the net to clear the puck away for the Maple Leafs. They shoot it in. It's sliced away by Millen. Here comes Lehman. He missed it. Eddie Beers for St. Louis got it ahead. Gilmore is up on the play as Paslowski goes in. Flipped it in on the boards. Gilmore after it. Paslowski fanned on it. Now Paslowski up the side. Centered it. Went in behind everybody. Eddie Beers couldn't reach it. Paslowski in the center ice area stopping the Leafs rush. He's having a good shift. Rolling it in across the Maple Leaf blue line and going after it in the corner is Paslowski. Gilmore is in there helping him. The Leafs try to get a stoppage, holding it on the boards. Now it's loose. Courtnall dumped it out, getting away from a check from Eddie Beers. Ramage back. Dumped it high on the boards near center ice. It's Kotsopoulos shooting it in, and Millen out of the net to stop it. Nearing the 4-minute mark of the second period, and still no score, but they're both going at it here in the second and looking for the first goal of the game. It has proved to be very important in these series, the first goal. Here's Clark. Oh, and he hit the goal post. Clark ripped one on the post. Here's another shot from Bide. That was on a bad angle, though. Solving out to center.
Nice to see Wendell Clark shoot the puck to the opposite side. Usually he goes low to the goaltender's right. That time he went to the goaltender's left. Different goalies around the league are talking about Wendell Clark's wrist shot, and they say he always shoots it in the same place. That time he didn't.
The Valley drops it back. The Blues were changing, though. They nearly got caught there. Near center, it's dropped back to Bruce Bell, to Natras. Natras some difficulty. Thomas will go in forechecking him. The pass to center ice, still no scores. Second period, nearing the 5-minute mark, and Natras dumped it ahead. Hunter set it up, Fedorko going in. Got it back to Hunter, and the Leafs scrambling, trying to clear it out, and they're successful getting it right down where Millen watches Natras come back to take it out. Natras, a pass to Bell, hopped over his stick. The Blues shoot it in. Nyland is there for Thomas and Daou. Thomas kicked it ahead, in with a shot. He ripped it hard, but missed the net. Up comes Salming. Salming tried to backhand it into Smith. Brad Smith getting in front. Brad Smith was tied up and couldn't get a shot. Here's Tyrion shooting, and again telegraphing the slap shot. And the Hunter stick deflected that puck into the crowd. This is Bob Cole with John Davidson in the booth at the arena in St. Louis. Game 2 of a best-of-7. The Blues winning the first game on Friday, 6-1. This one is scoreless. We're in the second period. And Flockhart dances away from Dan Daou and comes back in. He dropped it neatly. Wickenheiser's shot is blocked at the defense by Kotsopoulos. He gets rid of it in a hurry for Daou. Here comes Wickenheiser. Smith couldn't reach the pass, but he grabs it anyway from Norwood and went in. Broken up by Ramage. Maple Leafs shoot it up to Smith. He wrapped it in. Wasted no time. Millen, the goaltender, always moving. At this time, it's picked off at the line. The shot is deflected. Ramage decides to shoot it down the ice. Icing has been waved off. John, you pointed out an interesting fact about Millen, and if there is such a thing as a weakness, I think you saw one.
A lot of times when a goaltender rushes out to the shooter, you have a difficult time moving your feet if the shot's on the ice. Now, Toronto dropped their shots a bit. It may handcuff Millen somewhat.
There's Natras coming in, handcuffing everybody. He hit the side of the net, though, as he tried to hook it in front for Flockhart. Back out for Preacher. He had to stop to control it. Podubny made a great move, going in. Podubny tried to center it. He's still on the back of the net. Podubny now pushes one over to the side of the goal. Preacher, backhander missed. Solving, pinching in. The Maple Leafs apply the pressure down. There's Pavis. He'll try to fire it out. He missed the chance to clear it. He was bumped by Preacher. And there's Inachak. Inachak centered it. Here's Podubny. And his low shot missed. Inachak is there. So is Preacher. And the Blues hang on, but they can't clear it. Solving shot. That missed the net with Inachak standing on the doorstep of Greg Millen. In the corner. Terrific pressure by the Maple Leafs. Centered. A penalty coming up against the Maple Leafs. That will stall the Maple Leaf rush for a while.
Well, the Inachek line had been putting all sorts of pressure on St. Louis. They got themselves into trouble by Inachek taking a penalty in that offensive zone.
Now power play again for St. Louis, and here they come. At the line, Tyrion breaks it up and skates away. Daou is trying to catch up, and he does. Moving in, Daou gets set. Decides to play it over in front of the net, and Norwood of the Blues was there. Tyrion chases him around the goal as Ramage takes the pass. Tyrion is after Ramage now. Penalty killers, Courtnall and Tyrion. They back the Blues up. The fans don't like it. There's Courtnall stopping a rush by Ed Beers. comes to Norwood, giving it to Ramage. He's up to center ice. Ramage played it over here to Beers. He had to whip a shot in wide. It was offside anyway, and called back outside the Maple Leaf blue line with 1:15 left of the Inachak penalty.
Ramage led the team again this year with shots on goal. That's 4 seasons straight. He's had more shots than any other player on the hockey club. Wayne Gretzky led the entire league this year with shots on goal. He had something like 350. The record, Bob, Phil Esposito, 550 shots in one season, if you can imagine. That's 200 more shots than what Wayne Gretzky had this season. An incredible number for 1 year.
That had to be the year when he scored on 76 of them.
I think it was in 72, actually.
Pass goes in from Paslowski. In back of the net. That's Salming. Salming knocked his man down. Got the puck loose. Up the center is Courtnall. Lehman is in there with him. Courtnall with 55 seconds left. In the Maple Leaf penalty. Inachak is in the box, and 4 Blues come to center. Fired in by Paslowski. Reagan tried to knock it down. He got a piece of it. Salming ran into Gilmore, and the Leafs shoot it down the ice again. Here comes Millen out to the blue line to clear this one for Natras. 35 seconds left in the penalty. Natras shoots it in. This could be icing with Salming going back. In fact, it is icing against St. Louis, and the crowd restless a bit on this power play attempt by the Blues. They scored on 3 power play chances Friday night.
Well, that's good aggressive penalty killing by the Leafs using the speed. And before St. Louis could set up, they're being forced. Now, Jacques Demers went over the tapes of Game 1, and he thought that Borje Salming played very well. In fact, he thought he may have been the best defenseman that Toronto had on the ice. The veteran doing well. And they continue to talk to Ken Reagan. The confidence level there, they're talking about communication, how to handle a puck. Salming's done the job. He's in great physical shape, and that helps him plug along.
Salming takes his time going to the lead bench. Resting the penalty killers, Tyrion and Daou, no doubt. 30 seconds left in the Leaf penalty. Inachak is in the penalty box. That's Gilmore feeding it behind the net to Bourgeois. Norwood is the other defenseman for St. Louis. The pass comes to Norwood, to Ed Beers. Beers trying to go in. It was broken up by Kotsopoulos. Daou was on the puck, and he ran into Beers at the far side, and Tyrion knocked it in across the St. Louis line with only 5 seconds left in the Maple Leaf penalty. And now the Maple Leafs have killed the penalty. Inachak is on the ice. Gilmore is coming in. Gilmore stopped by Bill Root. He stays right with him. Beers goes in, and the Leafs led by Tyrion starting out. He's been on there for a while, though. He gets it up to Daou. Daou is coming in. Tyrion is with him. Here's Daou to Tyrion going in. Another chance in front of the net. They score! It was knocked in across the line with Millen out of the play, and Inachak gets the goal. 1-0 for the Maple Leafs.
Well, the Leafs forced the play. Inachak out of the box after Toronto killed the penalty very, very well. Now watch Millen, he's out of the net. Now what happens is if he doesn't have control of the puck out of the net, his teammates better cover the opposition's players. Inachak just simply slides the puck. It goes underneath the defenseman. But Greg Millen, with his aggressive play, this time gets caught out of the net, Bob, and his teammates didn't pick and knock over the Maple Leaf players. Inachak finds a loose puck and just shot it towards the net. Got lucky as it went underneath the defenseman, and Toronto get the very important first goal of the hockey game.
9:14, the time of the goal. I am afraid he dropped it back. Nearly set up a break, but Thomas was fading back there at the line. Into the corner is Thomas. Thomas trying to get away from Ramage, who pins the Leaf player. And the puck is in there also, and now it's loose. Play continues, goes back to the net on the other side, and Pavis starts out for St. Louis. Pavis to the line is Fedorko at center. Fedorko coming in. Fedorko stick handling all the way by Iafredi around the net. He centered it. Reichert has to hustle to hang on to it. With the Blues coming in quickly, that was Pavis, the defenseman who fell over the goaltender.
That's Inachak's second goal of the playoffs this year. Tyrion and Daou, who were on the ice killing the penalty for Toronto, get the assists on it. So it's a big, important first goal for Toronto. That's at 9:14 of the second period.
We welcome you people who've been watching the game out west, Edmonton and Calgary, to this one at the arena in St. Louis. Inachak has just scored for the Maple Leafs from Tyrion and Daou at 9:14 of this second period. And a much more spirited second period we have tonight. The two teams were really going at it. The Leafs have just killed the penalty, they've just scored, and they're leading 1-0. Fedorko couldn't win the draw this time. He has been winning most of them tonight. Vive is knocked down near center ice, looks around, hoping a penalty would be called, but the play goes to Kotsopoulos by him down the ice. And Root has to go back because here comes Fedorko. Root was there first. Played it to Vive, up the line. The Lynx get as far as center. Fedorko didn't see it. Kotsopoulos played it into Fergus, and he couldn't pick it up.
Bob, during game one, St. Louis kept the Toronto shooters to the outside. I think we're seeing the opposite style of game here tonight. Toronto has kept St. Louis to the outside, and St. Louis have had just 14 shots on goal, and we're halfway through the game, or regulation play.
There goes LaValle for Fedorko. Bars in front of the net, but a good play by Rick Vive to break it up. Shooting it ahead for Fergus. Fergus playing it up the line. Takes the line. Now goes in. Norwood stopping Thomas. Norwood in front of the netminder. Greg Millen with the pass to the line on the right side, and Barr dumps it in for St. Louis. Reggett had a notion to come out, but Nyland was getting back, so Reggett moved back into the net. And Ramage waits now at his own blue line. They've played 11 minutes of the second period. 1-0 Toronto. Flockhart shot! A high shot, a bullet off the glass, and the Leafs just shoot it down the ice. This is going to be icing. If Pavis gets there first, he does. Icing called against Toronto. Inachak has given the Leafs a 1-0 lead here in the second period.
Back with Bob McGill as the Maple Leafs have taken a 1-0 lead on a goal by Peter Inachak. And the line of Peter Inachak with Miroslav Feature and Walt Podubny, especially in the Chicago series and obviously here in this second period, were instrumental in the win. And I wanted, when Peter Inachak came over, we'd seen a lot of the European invasion starting and everything else, and yet Peter Inachak looked nothing like a European-style player. He was a plotter. Yeah. He was great along the boards. He loved the corners. He worked the corners. And it was really quite different, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was one of those guys that wasn't, look at me, here I am, and fancy stick handler and beat guys one-on-one all the time. He was really one of those guys. A plotter is a real good word for him. But because, he's not a real fluent skater. But you know what? The one thing he did, he was great along the boards, and he was also one of those guys that really could hang on to the puck. And, he would hang on to the puck and protect it well, and then he could dish it off to other guys and worked it that way. But strong guy. All those Europeans, that's the biggest thing I always found was when the first time you saw them, they always all had the real big legs and low center of gravity and were really strong on the puck and on their skates.
Walter Podubny was a classic up and down kind of a guy with a tremendous shot. And I guess we're all kind of wondering whether we saw enough of Walt Podubny. I always thought that maybe we didn't really see enough of him to be a great player. And I think that maybe he was a little disappointing in that. But in this playoff series, I think we're seeing him at his best playing hockey.
Well, you're right, Joe. I think that Walt's the kind of guy, I think that later on in his career, when he went to Quebec, he scored 45 goals and things like that. And I really think that he's the kind of player that could have had bigger successes here in Toronto. And, obviously we would have been the benefactors of that. But in the Chicago series, that line was tremendous. They really carried us, and especially on the power play. They set the tone both games in Chicago. First shift, they tried to run us, and they took stupid penalties, and boom, we end up with a power play goal right off the hop, and that line really carried us in that series. And I think they struggled a bit in game one in this series, but Peter obviously gets us on the board early or in the second period to put us out in the lead, and hopefully that line's going to continue to grow and push us through.
Now, I know one thing, and I don't know if it was this year, but Walt Podubny was claustrophobic. And I remember we landed in Seattle one time, and we had to take one of those little subway trams between terminals. and he got on there, and I mean, his face was up against the door like this, and his armpits, he was just like Niagara Falls starting there, and he knocked down 3 ladies when that door opened trying to get out of there, and he was not a good flyer, and he was not very good in enclosed areas.
I guess that's why he didn't like the corner so much.
I don't think that was accurate. Yeah, exactly.
Just kidding, but yeah, I mean, it's funny, you know, because you get different guys that are in situations where you know, a lot of people don't know anything about them other than they see them on the ice, and Walt was one of those guys. He was one of the white knuckle flyers.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, anytime you got in any kind of turbulence at all, they were gripping the seat in there. You could hear them, what going on, especially in the Scare Ontarios that we used to fly. But
putt-putt, Treetop Airlines, yeah.
But to see sometimes, you know, a big, strong guy like that, where they get that claustrophobic going, I mean, they're just like a little kid where you wonder if they're going to make it through or not.
Yep, and of course, there wasn't any chiding at all.
Oh, no.
No.
You never heard about that
No,
at all?
wouldn't do that. All right, the Leafs have a 1-0 lead on a goal by Peter Ineček. Let's go back upstairs.
This is Bob Cole with John Davidson, along with Dave Hodge and Don Cherry at the arena in St. Louis. The Maple Leafs here in Game 2 have scored first. They're leading 1-0. Wickenheiser couldn't win the draw from Daoud.
That's right, Bob. Daoud sent out specifically to take the face-off, and he did a good job winning it.
Blues forechecking, trying to create mistakes inside the Maple Leaf line, but Lehman comes up. Lehman on an angle, can't get a shot away. He was being watched by Bell, but here's Courtnall. He overskates it. Didn't see the puck rolling into the corner. Bell did. Bell got it ahead, near the line. Flockhart is coming out to center. Flockhart with Wickenheiser going into the slot area. Backhand pass, right in! And it was rolled by Flockhart in behind the netminder and out the other side.
That was a 3-on-3. Both Nyland and Salming took the same player, and they almost paid for it.
Penalty coming up against St. Louis. Lehman goes in as Reichert comes out of the net. And now Millen stops the play as he grabs it. And here's a St. Louis penalty coming up to Flockhart. 12:01 is the time of this penalty to Flockhart.
That puck is very near the blue line. Flockhart was standing still, flat-footed, and he got caught because Salming had the motion going. Flockhart in the penalty box. His team trails by a goal here. Glorious chance for Toronto.
This is Salming on the ice. This puck might go to the glass. It does not. It's knocked down by Podupny. He can play it. Podupny on the boards, trying to tie up Mahar. He's getting some help. Now Salming near the blue line. Backhands it in front of the net. The Blues were there, and it's cleared out by Mahar. Fired back in by Salming. The netminder, Millen, a good play to go in and stop it for Pavis. This one is stopped on the far side. Podupny is over there, and now it's called.
Nobody seems to know where the puck is. It may have gone into the stands, or else it's in with Ineček. Podupny, Ineček, and Freacher on the power play. Podupny's a good athlete, Bob. I saw him play for the Maple Leafs in the Molson Slow Pitch Tournament in Niagara Falls last summer. He played third base, and very, very good at it. Normally you see the good athletes that become hockey players. A lot of them are good golfers, some good ball players. Los Angeles, incidentally, won that tournament as they beat Detroit. Toronto was in the Final Four, along with the veteran team, the old-timers. And Podupny is some ball player.
And right now, he's out there on the left side with Ineček, who has scored the only goal of the game up to this point. Freacher is the other forward for the Maple Leafs. Iafrate and Salming on the defense. Minute and a half left in the power play for Toronto. The Blues, Gilmore slapped at it, couldn't get it out. Just killing some time holding it with a skate, and they, again, whistle the play dead for another face-off in the St. Louis zone.
A few moments ago, you mentioned, Bob, about Greg Millen making a good play getting behind the net as we look at Doug Gilmore, who goes by the nickname of Killer with the hockey club. Nice passive guy that plays very well. Doesn't have a great shot, Rick Wamsley was telling me this morning, the backup goaltender. But he said he's a great passer and seems to find the spot. But getting back to Greg Millen, he's got quick feet. He's able to skate quickly, get behind the net, and that's why he made the good play. He's real quick at getting out of the net, getting back along those back boards to control it.
Here's Salming hopping in as Fergus won the draw. Five is in. Hooked a high shot, but Millen, who was starting to go down, wasn't down quite far enough, and he made a very big save on Rick Five, who tried to put it up under the crossbar.
Also a good play by Norwood. He harassed Vive just as he shoots it. First of all, he takes Thomas out. Now he goes after Vive and made Vive quicken the shot. Millen made the good save and held on for the rebound. That all started on the face-off as Fergus did the job along with his teammates. St. Louis are well versed at what to do in case you lose a face-off. In other words, it's more than just the dropping of the puck. Stay with your man, take them out.
Minute 15 left in the penalty. The Blues are shorthanded. The Leafs lead 1-0. Inachek has the goal. And they have an opportunity here to go up 2-0 on this power play. But the Blues so far are doing a good job killing the penalty. At the line, the Leafs keep it in. Iafrate had it hit him on the shoulder and it went into the crowd.
Talk about character on a hockey club. The St. Louis Blues, when they beat Minnesota the last 2 games of that series, both games they trailed by 2 goals. They came back and won those games. So you know that these St. Louis Blues are going to come at you and come at you. As Iafrate and Salming are paired here on the power play. Interesting to see Iafrate playing the right side. He's a left-handed shot. And Salming's a left-handed shot playing the left side. He's the veteran. But what they want to do is set up Iafrate for a better angle shot on the power play, Bob.
Salming going back, so Fergus and the 2 wingers will go back to circle as the Leafs start out. Vive was not moving when he took the pass. Now everybody catching up to Vive, and it's Thomas getting loose in there. Thomas fired a pass right in front of the net as Vive. Another shot, he's tied up and he can't get the backhander. Ramage had his stick jammed down on Vive's stick, and he couldn't get a backhander away. And he had the empty side. Glove pass, and the play is called.
And Vive not happy with the call. It's going to go outside as the Leafs moved it ahead. Now the Leafs were told just get the puck towards the net. Iafrate does, and watch the lucky break they get as it bounces off his skate right there. And Vive nearly scores. Millen stretches out with his left leg. The Toronto players seem to be able to stand around the front of Greg Millen's goal a little more than in Game 1 without getting knocked down. Greg Millen with a super save on Rick Vive. Usually he'll cash in on those plays. A great save by Millen.
They played 13 minutes and 22 seconds of the second period. Inachek, the only goal scorer in this hockey game. The Leafs lead 1-0. And now on the penalty, 35 seconds. The Leafs power play, almost over. Gilmore on there with Paslowski, trying to kill the last few seconds as Vive comes up over the line. Vive gets set, takes a look around, hangs on to the puck. Now to Iafrate, back to Vive. He might shoot it there. Lets the shot go. It was blocked up the defense by Pavis. Vive again to Iafrate. Another shot. That's knocked down in front. Vive couldn't get in there in time, and the Blues cleared out. That'll kill the penalty. Gilmore is stopped near center. The puck over the boards at the St. Louis bench, and only 2 seconds left in the St. Louis penalty now.
First of all, Paslowski made a good block near that blue line of St. Louis, and then Iafrate got the shot up a little bit too high. A defenseman doesn't want to do that, and he hit his own man Fergus in front of Greg Millen, but the power play is going to expire here for the Leafs. It's good penalty killing led by Paslowski. Again, they use speed players killing penalties, plus good goaltending. That sort of helps penalty killing.
Wickenheiser comes out for St. Louis. Norwood, the defenseman, moved up on the left side until the penalty is over, and it now is. Ramage is the other defenseman going back. Barr, the right winger, didn't see the pass. The Leafs from center ice, they give it away. Flockhart is coming in after the puck with Wickenheiser. He's trying to get it over in front of the goal to Barr, but the Leafs come back out. This is Wendell Clark coming in. Clark takes a shot, put it right on the rebound. Clark, he nearly jammed it underneath him. Another shot, a pileup of players. Norwood is down, Ramage is down, and the goaltender Millen hangs on to it. This is Stanley Cup 86.
Let's watch the aggressive play around that St. Louis goal net. First of all, Wendell Clark follows up the rebound. He thinks he scored. Now, right there, Lehman's going to come in. He can't get it up. Courtnall's standing there. Everybody's down except for the Toronto players, and they nearly score. Millen again sharp.
Still 1-0 Toronto. Inachek, the goal scorer for the Maple Leafs here in the second period. In on the boards they go. 2 St. Louis Blues hang on to it long enough to clear it away. And it's down to center for Barr. Barr across the line. He's stopped by Kotsopoulos. Root, the other defenseman, takes over and gives it to Lehman. He missed it. Norwood shot. Stopped in front. And it's played up to Courtnall. In with Lehman. Courtnall's drive. Kicked out. Courtnall again. Kicked out by Millen. Two sensational saves by Greg Millen. Courtnall tried to put her right through him. Wickenheiser up the center. The crowd really buzzing on that flurry by Courtnall. First one bullet shot. Millen stood up. Then he got the rebound and rifled it again.
And that was a great outlet pass by Katsopoulos to Courtnall.
Blues keep it in right in front of the net. Salving made a good play. He was grabbed by Barr, but he kicked it away as he fell, clearing the net area. Back in for Nyland. Nyland decides to play it in across the line. Daou flipped one in high into the corner, and the Blues are back first. Cavallini can't clear it out. Kept in, a good play by Daou. Natras is there for Reeds. He was hit hard by Nyland, and the puck goes all the way down the ice. Salving back, icing called against St. Louis with 4:16 left in the period.
St. Louis are hanging in there. The Leafs are forcing the play. Greg Milne doing the job, really doing the job for his hockey club, but the Leafs, Gary Nyland taking the body. Katsopoulos with a great pass out of his own zone. Hits Courtnall. He's going to get two shots. Ramage plays it pretty good. He turns away, though, after he had taken Courtnall and forced him to the outside, but Milne with two good saves. And the other winger, I believe that was Lehman, on the wall, got knocked down. But the Leafs, with that quick pace that they wanted to use in Game 1, are showing it here in Game 2. And St. Louis, their defensemen, to me, Bob, appear to be tiring somewhat. And you know Ramage, there's no way that he can be 100% because he was hurt in Game 1.
He bruised his hip and did not play at all in the third period, leaving in the second. Well, they told us today it was just a bruise on the hip and he would be okay. He's logging quite a bit of ice time tonight. Bruised hip and all. Here's Preacher's shot. Nice save by Millen. Right on the draw. Preacher with a low shot. Leafs keep it in. That's Preacher flipping it in for Podubny. But Millen beat him to it. Cleared it away on the right side. Out to Mahar, who's speeding in. Mahar gets away into the corner, and Salming carries him now and on the boards. Cavallini back of the net. Couldn't center it. Preacher hooked it away with his skate and got it out to center ice. Natras stops it. Natras poked it high, and Nyland takes over at the Maple Leaf blue line.
That last shot off the face-off. Now 17-7 in the second period in favor of Toronto. They're forcing it pretty much their own way here. But Greg Milne has only allowed them to have the one-goal lead.
Leafs get the puck up to Inachak, who has scored the game's only goal up to this point. Preacher trying to go in. Here's Podubny trailing the play. Takes his shot. Inachak missed it in front. Preacher set it up for Podubny. But three Blues break it up. Led by Fedorko. They come right back at the Maple Leafs. Fedorko speeding in. He's getting set. Rolled it over in front of the net. Fedorko has it again. Tried to jam it in. It comes back to the line. Ramage from the blue line. Couldn't shoot it up the net. Cavallini missed the net. And the net off the moorings again. Hunter was knocked flying into the Maple Leaf goal, and the play is called. Katsopoulos, the defenseman, giving Hunter a rough time in front of the net. Maple Leafs won, and the St. Louis Blues no score. 3:05 left in the second period. Fedorko has been strong tonight for St. Louis. He's been coming close, John.
Very close. That last play, Ramage couldn't get a shot on goal, so he banked it off the boards. And as the puck banked off the backboards in front, almost like a pool bank shot, his team got a scoring chance. That's a smart heads-up play by Rob Ramage.
Fedorko couldn't get the draw this time. It goes in where Root played it on the boards. LaValle nearly knocked it down, though. Now Five comes down the right side. He has Thomas up there with him. Fergus trailing. Here's Thomas going in. He is tied up. Thomas centered it. It comes back to the defenseman Katsopoulos. Katsopoulos played it on the boards behind the net. And now more penalties. Katsopoulos and Ramage, I think, had their sticks up for a moment. Couldn't be for very long. 2 minutes and 46 seconds remaining in the second period here in St. Louis. Inachak for Toronto. The only man to score a goal so far tonight. It came at 9:14 of the second period. Therrien and Daou assisting.
Up along the boards, we're going to see these last penalties. It's Katsopoulos and Ramage who get called. Bob Myers makes the call right there. Ramage. Now here you see Katsopoulos trying to get back at Ramage.
At 17,
Flashing calls to both players, and what might be the team's best defenseman tonight, Ramage and Katsopoulos, get a time to rest.
Coincident minors. So the teams are still at full strength. The Leafs lead 1-0 here in game 2 of a best of 7. The Blues in total command of game 1, winning 6-1. Leafs played well in the first period. The Blues owned the next 2. And they won it going away 6-1. Now they have to fight to get back in this one. LaValle is doing that now. Shoots. Oh, what a save by Ken Reggett. Reggett was out, and LaValle, I'll tell you, had that far corner labeled, and Reggett got the glove out and made a great save.
What a timely save, Bob. Shots 30, now 16. St. Louis had only had 15 shots, and we're almost the end of the second period. Reggett gets out on LaValle, and the thing is, he's set when LaValle takes a shot. He went right around Borje-Salming, and look at Reggett set, and he concentrated, and he found that puck. That wasn't a shot that just hit his catching glove. He makes a good play. Salming stood up on him, but LaValle made a better play. Watch Reggett. He's set. The glove's there, and he concentrates and reaches behind him. And what a timely save for Ken Reggett and the Toronto Maple Leafs.
What great goaltending there, though.
We're seeing great goaltending at both ends. Greg Milne has held his hockey club in this hockey game. And Reggett, as I say, not with as much work, but a timely save.
Boy, I'll say, with only 2:24 left in the period, and the Leafs, slim margin, 1-0. I don't know how long this will stand up, but the Blues, you know, a very patient team, very disciplined team. They'll buy this 1-goal lead. Here's a shot, Reggett. Again, John, you pointed out how that young man is playing the angles now. He has matured, no question, and he was right on the spot to stop that one.
Well, Dan Maloney, of course, has Johnny Bauer, the former NHL great, working with Reggett, but Reggett has the position, not moving when he makes those saves.
2 minutes, 21 seconds left in the period. Watch this angle now.
Face-off. Dao's there because he's the best on the left side, but he got beat by Gilmore, and then the puck was controlled by St. Louis, and a quick shot. Reggett was out and not moving when he made the save off Kozlowski, who's had more than his share of shots here again. He had 5 shots on goal in game 1. Only LaValle had more. He had 6 in that game 1. So it's quite a couple of games here.
Fedorko again on the face-off, but the Leafs control this time. And the Leafs, Nyland played it to the left wing boards. 2 Blues were there. One of them, Fedorko, net was the other. Took a shot, hit Salming. Nobody saw the puck, but it bounced over the glass into the crowd behind Ken Reggett. Now we're down to 2 minutes and 8 seconds left to play in the second period. Still 1-0. Toronto. Inachak scored the goal in this second period, and it came back at 9:14.
You look down below Jacques Demers, you see Wickenheiser with that patch on his right cheekbone. That's where he was cut. But Jacques Demers now getting his team going here a little bit. He'll try all different sorts of tactics. They've controlled the last 2 faceoffs in that Toronto zone. They had 1 shot off the first faceoff. The second one was ricocheted up high. But he, along with Mark Plager and Brian Sutter on the bench to get the team going. Bob Plager works upstairs in the press box, and he goes down between periods generally to relay messages or what weaknesses he can find in the opposition's teams.
Now the crowd trying to get these Blues going. Get a goal before this period is out. They're in the Leaf zone, but the Leafs again winning the face-off. Pavis is pinching in. The Blues can't keep it in. Here's a 2-on-1 for Toronto. Courtnall coming in. Down with him. Courtnall went in behind everybody. The goaltender was out again, but Courtnall could not make the play to Dao. Gilmore played it in. Beers going in. And it's stopped. Rebound. That's up high. Leaf players skating around as if a whistle had gone. But the play is still alive. It's centered. Right in the crease. Reggett down. Scramble. And again, Reggett keeps the puck out. 5 players were in a pile in the Leaf goal area. And they're up now saying that a Leaf player knocked the goal off the morning.
And they're also saying it's a Leaf player that fell on the puck. We want a penalty shot. That's what they're saying, both those things. What action at both ends. Courtnall went wide on Greg Milne. The proper play when Milne comes 30 feet out of the goal net, but they couldn't score on it. They go back the other way. Ken Reggett, 2 or 3 great saves. Unbelievable. And then the loose puck. Now let's watch this. Courtnall goes wide on Milne because he's out of the net. Now the people, the St. Louis Blues, take the men properly. sets up a 2-on-1 here. Great pass across. They come into the Toronto zone and watch the play around the goal net. It's going to be right on the goal line before this play finishes. Watch this. Reagan moves his legs. There's the puck. It's on the goal line. Now watch the Leafs fall down on the puck, and they're saying, we want a penalty shot. It could even have been somebody put their hand on the puck.
Then there would be a penalty shot.
Absolutely. But what action at both ends here as the pace quickens. Reagan reached back with his goal stick, very similar to game one, and pulled it out. Now watch the puck here when Reagan falls to his left. He's going down. He's going to reach back. He's going to pull it out. Let's see where the puck ends up. There it is on the goal line. And watch Lehman come down.
Now watch Paslowski. He hits the goal post.
Right, he's the one that knocked the goal off its moorings. But what action. Amazing, it did not go in.
1.5 left in the period. Still 1-0. A scrap started in behind the play. It's Brick 5 and Hunter going at it.
Hunter surprised Vibe early with a left hand and touching and grabbing. The play was up around the St. Louis blue line, and Hunter and Vibe were jawing with each other. Then they dropped the gloves.
Not many punches thrown. They really got in a lock on each other immediately.
As all this goes on, Ken Reagan skates from side to side, trying to calm the nerves as this game heats up. A 1-0 playoff-style hockey game with lots of hitting and grinding. Great goaltending we're seeing a lot tonight, Bob.
They'll go to their dressing rooms again. Major penalties coming, or even coincident minors, with only 1 minute and 23 seconds left in the second period. This program is copyright and is strictly for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, retransmission, distribution, or exhibition in whole or in part without the express written consent of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation is strictly prohibited. They did get major penalties.
Bob, the Blues are coming on here. The shots were 30-15. They are now 30-20. So the last 5 shots on goal have all been by St. Louis as they're starting to force the play. And this should give them a pretty good feeling as they head into the dressing room for the intermission. 1:23 remaining here in the second period.
1-0, Toronto leading. Here in game 2, the best of 7. Scene shifts, of course, to Toronto for the next 2 games. Tuesday and Thursday. The Beast back in his own zone. Got it out over the line. Salming nearly trapped it inside the blue line with 1:08 left in the period now. The Valley dumps it out across the line to center to Barr. Barr is stopped immediately by Big Nyland. Leafs controlling the play now. Less than a minute to play in the period. Lehman nearly went in. Pavis stopped him. Fergus played it back. Solving a soft pass ahead, but Pavis was there. Fedorko going over there, but now Barr shoots it in too high. Trying to put it on the glass. More pucks go a little too high and just a little too high, and they're into the crowd like that. Both goaltenders, Rugged and Millen. The shots now, the 2-period total, 31-20 for the Maple Leafs with 40 seconds left in the second period. Norwood up across center with a pass for Fedorko. Now the Blues getting some momentum now coming on. It's cleared into the Maple Leaf zone again. Back to the net. Gilmore bumped his man. Leafs try to slash it out of the zone. That was Lehman. He missed it. Norwood all over him. 25 seconds to play. And the whistle sounds again for another face-off in the Maple Leaf zone, and the Blues keep coming.
Gary Sutter from the University of Wisconsin. He played where Badger Bob Johnson coached for many years, and he's had a great year, as has Wendell Clark.
25 seconds remaining in the second period. The Leafs 1. St. Louis Blues, no score. Inachak, the goal scorer for Toronto. And the Leafs control on the face-off in their own zone. They've been doing that a lot. Getting the puck out to Tyrion. 20 seconds left. Tyrion's shot. That is blocked at the defense by Norwood. Ramage is going back against Daou to bump Daou. Ramage in on the board. So is Gilmore. Gilmore knocked the puck loose to the far side. Paslowski couldn't get a pass away. It's kept in and hooked high over the net. And Millen gloved it with only 2 seconds remaining in the period. The goaltender decides to hang on to it. And there'll be one more face-off in the St. Louis zone.
Sorry, Bob. There you can see Milne talking to the referee. He tried to escape with that puck, and then he wanted to get rid of it. He realized there's 2 seconds remaining here in the period, and he did not want that face-off in his zone. So Jacques Demers sends out Gilmore to take it. And you saw Myers and Milne have a few words with each other. Greg Millen did his best, but the quick whistle.
1-0. Leafs will try to win the draw and get one more shot on the net. Nyland, the big defenseman, is parked up there against Norwood to the right of Fergus.
Look at Gilmore cheat. He's almost turned his whole body. Now, they did put Kozlowski over to his right on the boards in case they win it.
Kozlowski grabbed the puck and fired it off the boards and out as the horn goes to end the period. Inachak has the goal. And so the score at the end of the second period is Toronto 1, St. Louis nothing.
The Leafs have the lead 1-0 on a goal by Peter Inachek. You're watching Molson Canadian Sunday Night Classics on Leafs TV. Back here with Bob McGill as the Leafs have a 1-0 lead over the St. Louis Blues in Game 2 after 2 at the arena in St. Louis. And a young man out of Cornwall, Ontario, Kingston by way, I guess, Doug Gilmour, has arrived on the scene in St. Louis to be a defensive specialist, I suppose.
Yeah,
Exactly. Well, let's see. Doug Gilmour, he had 25 goals and 53 points, learning how to check. We saw how it evolved in back when he came to Toronto in the early 90s. But at this point, Bob, did you realize that maybe this guy was a little special?
Well, I think so, Joe. I mean, I played against Killer. He was at the Memorial Cup back in '81 right. When I was with Victoria. He was with the Cornwall Royals. He played with Howard Chuck and Scott Arneal and guys like that. They won the Memorial Cup for the second straight year. But you know, he proved in his junior career that he was going to be a goal scorer and a playmaker. I mean, he had terrific amount of points, and I mean, he was a steal for St. Louis at that high of a draft pick. And I mean, he came in, and I think his first year and had 50-some points. And this year in the playoffs, I mean, he led the NHL in scoring and didn't play in the finals. I mean, just an amazing player. I mean, having played with him for 1 year when I came back to the Leafs in '92 or '91. Was just a special guy. Like, my God, I mean, he took this city on his back, and you know, for a guy who was 160, 165 pounds,
sopping wet.
I mean, played like he was 220 pound guy, ferocious competitor, and just, I mean, he was probably the best player I ever played with, and I played with some good ones in different cities, but I would say that Doug Gilmour was the best player that I ever played with.
And I think you summed it up, competitor. And many people play sports, and many people are very good athletes. Many people excel at their athletic endeavors, but not as many are competitors, and that's different. It really is, because you can be so much better with less talent if you are that kind of a competitor.
Well, there's no doubt about it, and there's lots of guys throughout their careers that play a long time because they are competitors, and you know, they get by with less talent. You know, I mean, you know, I wasn't the most talented guy either, as you can see by all my goals I scored, Joe. But
we're going to get to the 1,700 minutes and penalties directly. Don't worry.
But you're right. I mean, that's the difference between, you know, when you're a guy when you have real good talent, and then you are that competitor. That makes you between being a good player and a great player, and that's certainly Doug Gilmour's case. I mean, he became a great player because he had that competitive edge over a lot of guys to go along with his talent base.
And you know, and Bobby, you can see it in their eyes, can't you? I mean, you can just see the pupils get dilated and the fire starts pouring out of them.
You know, and you go into a corner with the guy and you know, he looks at you in the eye and it's like, you know what, you're not going to beat me here. This is going to be my puck and things like that. And a lot of other guys, and they won't look you in the eye when you go into the corner, or if there's a little battle in front of the net or whatever. But Doug Gilmour is the kind of guy who looked you straight in the face, and like he was, and especially with that gap mouth that he had with those teeth going. And I mean, he could be almost scary looking. And I mean, you know, I think that was part of the allure of him being such a sort of media darling, and everybody loved him because, I mean, he looked like he was tough as hell, and he was. But he was so good with talent-wise, and he could do so many special things, which made him such a great player.
All right. Well, the Leafs have a 1-0 lead over Doug Gilmour and the St. Louis Blues, trying to even up the best-of-7 series, as this is Game 2, April 20th, 1986. You're watching Molson Canadian Sunday Night Classics on Leafs TV.
The Inichak goal came at 9:14 of the second period. The Leafs outshot, the Maple Leafs rather outshot the Blues 18-12 in the period. Two-period totals 31-20. So they have been pretty well in control of the hockey game, but leading by just 1-0. Gilmore to the far side as the Blues come in. Shooting the puck up high on the glass. They want an early goal. That's obvious. Paslowski centered it. Reggett covers up. He hangs on to it.
Reggett covers up again, Bob, and again the Maple Leafs do the job, taking out people in front of the net. Salming, along with Iafrate during that last shift, do the job. Of course, Reggett's been a little bit busy towards the end of the second period, made some key saves. Rick Vive and Mark Hunter are still in the penalty box, serving what remains on their fighting majors that they received at 18:37 of that second period.
There's Vive. And there's Hunter. 29 seconds into the third period. 1-0. Here's the face-off. Reeds couldn't get a shot. Leafs clear it out of the zone, and Thomas comes to center ice. Thomas is coming in with Smith. Thomas still with the puck. Now Smith goes in there to help. Cavallini is bumped by Smith. Bourgeois gets it ahead to Reeds. He was covered by Fergus. Bourgeois again lugging the puck out of his own end. Kotsopoulos stopped it for Brad Smith to center ice. Smith shoots it in. Here comes Fergus. Bourgeois was there quickly. He is pinned in on the boards by Fergus. And Reeds takes it for St. Louis. Coming out to center. Fedorko carries the puck in. Smith went after it, and Smith got back to break it up. It's played for Bill Root. Cavallini is up there. Cavallini took a shot. A weak one stopped by Kotsopoulos.
Smith playing on the right side because Vive is in the penalty box, so he was on with Thomas and Fergus. Did some pretty smart things in his own zone.
That's Kotsopoulos going back. Ripped it on the boards. Inichak, the goal scorer in the hockey game, and the only one so far. Goes hit across the St. Louis line. Podubny nearly knocked it loose for Inichak. And the Blues, three of them get to center. LaValle is going in, dropping it. Fedorko tried to go to the net, and he was stopped. The Leafs are back there checking now and appear to be hanging on as the Blues are coming. LaValle and Root are going at it. The linesmen get in there quickly. And nothing developing here. 1:49, coincident minors, and here's what happened.
Boy, oh boy, the first one to get over there was the referee, Myers, but Root and LaValle chasing at each other. Then Kevin Collins jumped in. We had 44 minutes of penalties during that first period and just 18 during the second period. Here in the third period, they start early, getting at each other.
Wickenheiser with Paslowski and Flockhart. From the face-off, the Leafs Preacher takes it. Turns, gets a pass away, and it's Daou coming out. He has Inichak up on the play. Daou looking for a change, dumped it in, and skated immediately to the Leaf bench. Norwood in there, having trouble against Inichak. Natras on the other side with Flockhart. Puck is loose, Podubny hooked it back, but Paslowski was there. Got it ahead to Flockhart, and he's flying in now. Flockhart shoots! A high shot, hit the glass. Inichak will dump it out of the zone. It's still 1-0. The Maple Leafs over the Blues here in Game 2. Blues leading the series 1-0, beating Toronto 6-1 on Friday night. This, John, would be a crushing defeat to the Maple Leafs, having played this kind of a hockey game, should they lose tonight. And it would be a tremendous lift, of course, for St. Louis.
Certainly would, along with Greg Milne. Both goaltenders have been real good, as we've mentioned. Flockhart, who was born in Smithers, BC, played his junior hockey in Regina. Now, they've been playing him on the wing quite a bit this season. He was a natural center throughout most of his career. They were worried about him along the boards and how strong he would be in the corners. But Flockhart has played well all year for the St. Louis Blues.
Kotsopoulos back there on the Leaf defense, turning in a solid game tonight. Into the corner, dumped into the far side. Lehman gets it out of the zone. And the Leafs just playing good defensive hockey now, looking for a break. They're leading 1-0. Here's Ed Beers coming in. Beers got through. Beers shoots a low shot and got another one away. Bourgeois coming in. Pass it off. Bourgeois again. Reggett down, and Reggett hangs on to the puck, but the Blues come awfully close to tying the hockey game. Reggett coming up with that save to hold it. They're roaring now as the Blues come close. They sense maybe they're going to tie the hockey game. The Leafs are leading 1-0. Fergus cleared the zone. Ramage beats it back in. Salming again. Dumped it out to center to Thomas. Thomas made a good move. Got away from Reeds, but then Fedorko took it from him. Here's Pavis. He'll shoot it from center. It goes in for Reeds. On the boards quickly. Reeds stopped by Nyland. Fergus to Smith. Smith couldn't get it out of his own zone. Puck back of the net. It's center. Puck goes high. And Smith sees it first. Gets out as far as center, and then backhands it in where Ramage waits. 1-0 Toronto. Leafs pick it off. Chance for Smith. Took a shot, and it was blocked by Ramage, the defenseman. Fedorko tired on this shift now, but he's coming in. And he was bumped. The puck slides right to Reggett, and then Salming dumped it on the boards to the line. Norwood bumped by Smith, allowing Fergus to set up Smith. He's in. Takes the shot. Cuts back of the net. Nobody out front to pass it to. He fell but rolled it behind the goal. Nearly got it again. The Leafs keep it in. Cardinal. And Norwood is getting it to Smith. Apparently Smith had been hit earlier and he's hurt. And he's leaning on the crossbar. Norwood kept giving it to him.
Now Norwood was the aggressor. Smith turned away immediately. Now what's going to happen here, I would think, is Smith may draw the extra minor or penalty. Norwood. Now Smith 2 or 3 times has come down with a puck. Remember, Smith was over against the boards and took out the St. Louis Blues defenseman that set up that 2-on-1 box. And then they came down and couldn't get a shot on goal. Smith is drawing something here. Norwood visibly upset. He nailed Smith a couple of shots. Smith did not go back at him. But it's going to be interesting to see what the referee is going to call. Remember, right outside that Toronto blue line, the Blues defenseman had the puck and Smith took him out. That set up a 2-on-1, which they didn't score on. So we'll see how this starts. You see Smith taking the body. And right away, Norwood not happy with it, and he's the aggressor on the play, throwing some punches, and you see how this finishes right near the crossbar.
I think, John, sorry, that the Blues picked up an extra 2 minutes because of this mix-up. Norwood got the 2 minor penalties, and Smith 1.
Well, there's a right hand to the left eye socket, or make that right eye socket. Oh boy, that's a price you pay, but he drew a penalty. And that's what counts. The referee made the correct call, and I think that whole thing started way back by the Leaf blue line when Smith was throwing his body around.
Now they've got LaValle's number up on the scoreboard at center ice. He's over-serving the minor penalty. That's why they put it up.
Dan Daou just skated over with an ice pack there for Motor City Smitty. He's going to have to keep that on to keep the swelling down, but the Leafs, with their power play in St. Louis, have been outstanding killing penalties in this hockey game.
Here comes Thomas for the Maple Leafs. They have the man advantage now, leading 1-0. A goal here would be a huge one. Iafrate has to hurry to get back, and Salming comes back as Reeds was covered by Iafrate. Now it's Salming leading the attack for Toronto. Shoots a long one in off the boards. It comes out quickly. Here's Fergus tapping it in. Millen will hang on to this one. Now he drops it, but the referee was there and called the play. Millen was about to shoot it down the ice.
Oh, he's an aggressive kid. When he has the confidence going like he does right now, why not be aggressive? Killed a couple of more seconds off. St. Louis again with that good penalty killing. Dan Maloney hasn't been able to crack that penalty killing situation tonight. Remember, they scored 1 power play goal in game 1. That was their only goal. And to this point, St. Louis has only given up 1 even strength goal in the 2 games.
Nearing the 5-minute mark of the 3rd period, and the Maple Leafs have the man advantage now. And they're still leading 1-0. Just 1 goal in this hockey game. Janacek, 5 is in on this power play. Hands it off. Lehman throws it into the corner, gets it back. Lehman near the line. Slides it for Salming. A shot. Score! Salming took a shot. Looked harmless enough, but it was tipped in front of the net. And the Leafs get a power play goal here, and a very, very big goal it is, because they now take a 2-0 lead.
That's the only shot on goal that Toronto's had here in the third period. Watch it deflect halfway towards the net. Dan Maloney said, shoot the puck, boys, on the power play, and it was deflected. It may have been Fergus, I'm not sure, in deep, as it goes over the shoulder. Maybe even the St. Louis Blues player, Bourgeois. Watch this as the puck's coming in, and it's going to be deflected right out of midair. Maybe Fergus standing his ground as two Blues were there and only one St. Louis Blue. Give Brad Smith credit. He's in the penalty box. He drew a penalty from Norwood, and Norwood had the extra 2 minutes on it. As you see the results of that skirmish between Norwood and Smith, there was a right hand that Norwood threw and really nailed Smith in the eye socket. He got the extra 2 minutes, and the Leafs come out on the power play and take advantage of it.
Fergus, assisted by number 21, Corey Salming, and number 11, Gary Lehman. Time of the goal, 4:56.
4:56. And the Leafs have a 2-goal lead now. The Blues got in front of the net. Thomas overskates it. A shot from the line. Hits Salming standing in front of his own net. Here's Bell's shot. Break it down. Can't get back in the net. The puck, fortunately, squeezed off to the corner and lifted over the glass into the crowd.
Salming just made a super play, or a lucky play. He came in and leveled Fedorko. Fedorko's been complaining during this entire stoppage to the referee. Watch in front of the net here. We're going to see the goal. Fergus has good position. He's in behind Charlie Bourgeois, and he pops it, just deflects it past the outstretched glove of Milne. But Salming knocked Fedorko right down in front of Reagan, who's lucky not to get a penalty.
These Blues, you know, are good in low-scoring games. How good? Well, we'll see. They're down 2-0 now on the power play goal by Fergus, and they're nearing the 6-minute mark of the third period. Leafs have to win one here in St. Louis. They hope to advance in the Stanley Cup round. Out it comes to Thomas. He misses it, and they haven't won here in 3 years. February in '83 was the last time they won a game here. You know, they're thinking about that. Here's a lead pass to Vyman. He can shoot him. Out comes Millen again. 20 feet, cutting the angle. Salming stop one near center. Nyland shooting the puck ahead. At the 6-minute mark of the third period here in St. Louis, the Leafs have a power play goal here in the third from Fergus at 4:56. And they're leading now 2-0. Fedorko set it up, but the Leafs are back there checking. They clear it out over the line to the center ice area.
Bob, I think the Leafs took a lesson from St. Louis in Game 1, how to check away from the puck. The Leafs are doing it extremely well in this hockey game, and that's why St. Louis have yet to score, along with some fine goaltending by Ken Reagan.
Vasilevsky for Fedorko in back of the net. Inachak pins him in on the boards. Inachak fell. Now Fedorko goes down. And the Blues, without a stick, as Ed Beers trying to set it up over in the corner. While the Leafs are going to clear it out. Two of them come to center ice. Preacher gives it to Walt Podepny. Podepny cutting in, trying to beat Bourgeois, can't do it. Bourgeois strong arms him into the boards, back to the net, and the Blues come back. It's cleared to the line. Courtnall saw it, but not in time to make a play. Bell, the defenseman, turns. Coming up to the 7-minute mark of the third. And it's 2-0 Toronto here in Game 2. The Blues won the first game Friday, 6-1. The series shifts to Toronto for Games 3 and 4. Tuesday and Thursday. Courtnall back in there. Fake the shot. Wendell Clark. Nice save by Millen. It's in back of the net. There goes Lehman and Clark. Clark has it. He left it there in the corner. Lehman was tied up and couldn't go in. Natras went after it. He fell. Cleared it on the boards. And the Blues do get it out to center ice. Vasilevsky tapped it in, and the Blues want to make changes.
Blues, not the quicker of the two teams in this hockey game. We thought the ice might be a major problem for both teams, but it seems to have held up. St. Louis have had the play forced in their zone somewhat.
Nearing the 8-minute mark of the third, the Blues coming on, trying to get a goal here against the Maple Leafs. Usually it's the other way around, where the Blues are tight defensively. Tonight, the Leafs have 2 goals, and they're standing up so far. Blues can't get in close. They're outshot over the 2 periods up to this point in the third, 34-24. 7:30 start Tuesday night, of course, is Eastern time. Up to the 9-minute mark now in the third period of the second game, and the Leafs lead 2-0. Natras 27, out to Fedorko. Fedorko is stopped. He was slow moving that time. Here's Fedorko again, can't control it. Puck goes in, a weak shot is wide of the net. LaValle knocked flying. Norwood at the blue line. Raggett sees it, and he grabs it. And the goaltender out cutting the angle, standing up just magnificently, cutting the angle and catching that one.
Well, what we're saying now is St. Louis being much more offensive-minded. They realize with 10:44 remaining in the third, they better get it going. Raggett's been a tough puzzle to solve, but still St. Louis now firing everything possible towards Raggett, not being overly fancy at all.
One goal by the Blues would do wonders for them right now. They're nearing the halfway mark of the third period. And the Leafs picking it off. A high shot. Knocked down in front of the net as Salming intercepted the pass. Salming playing a strong game tonight for Toronto. Pins his man on the boards near center. And Natras is back. Podubny in for checking. Chased him around the net. Hunter is loose. He comes to center. Hunter going in. He got across the line. Carries on. Dropped it back near the blue line. And Podubny will circle and go back out. He has Nyland catching up on the play. Here's the pass to Nyland on his skate. He centered it. Preacher went after it, centered it again, and the Blues clear it out. Up to center, Fedorko. Bernie Fedorko stopped at the line. Neat play by Courtnall. Here's Wendell Clark in. Quick shot. And a high one off the glass. Courtnall after it in the corner. Clark coming over to help. Stopped the puck. Gave it to Courtnall. He fanned on it. It bounced over his stick. Nearing the 11-minute mark of the third period. There's Clark missing it near center. LaValle moving up. LaValle's shot. A low one wide. A penalty coming up against the Maple Leafs. Wendell Clark. He floored Paslowski inside the Maple Leaf line, and he's going.
Boy, oh boy, watch Wendell Clark here away from the puck on Paslowski. He knocks Paslowski down. He was a good 30 or 40 feet away from the puck. Wendell Clark had a chance to control it in the neutral zone, had some trouble, and they got himself into trouble. The Blues are coming on here. They've outshot Toronto 9-3 in the third period, Bob.
That one will go in the crowd as the Leafs try to get it out of the zone using the boards and the glass in the corner, but it went up too high. 9:25 to play, 2-0. That looks huge. At least it did, but now with the Blues having the man advantage, it's not so big.
And one of the two main face-off men. It's interesting to watch the Maple Leafs. Nobody's bigger than the hockey club. Dan Maloney's proved that all season, and he's got the team playing well tonight.
Natras dumped it off to the corner. Dow has a chance to clear it. He does get it out. He and Therrien are on again. They're the penalty killers for the Maple Leafs. Eddie Beers in, faking the shot. Passed it along in front of the net. We welcome you people who've been watching the Edmonton-Calgary tussle tonight with this one in St. Louis. Calgary with a 2-goal lead out there and looking pretty good in game 2. And here the Maple Leafs have a 2-goal lead. They're leading 2-0 here in the third period. And at the moment, the Blues have the man advantage. Cleared in back of the net. On the boards, Paslowski stole it. Beers got a shot. Not a good one. Katsopoulos was there. He's been a standout on the Leaf blue line tonight. Chris Katsopoulos has. Fergus has scored a power play goal here in the third for the Maple Leafs. They give them a 2-0 lead. Look at Flockhart go in there now. Flockhart is stopped. Beers dumped it up behind the net. Flockhart gets out in front and he couldn't get a shot. Raggett is down. And Hunter whipped it by the goaltender underneath them. And it went wide. That was very, very close.
And remember, St. Louis, their last 2 games against Minnesota were trailed by 2 goals. In both of those games, they're coming back, and they won both those games. They're coming back and trying here as they again trail by 2.
Shots are getting rather even now. 34-29 for the Maple Leafs. Here in the period, 10-3 are the shots for St. Louis.
Now watch the scramble here as right away the Leafs have to reach out and start looking around for some St. Louis Blues players. Hunter almost scored on the short side as Raggett has been pressed here in the third period.
Dow and Tyrion, the penalty killers, remain on. 25 seconds left in the Maple Leaf penalty. Wendell Clark is serving that. And the Blues, trying to get back in the hockey game, are coming down, led by Fedorko, who dumped it in. Here comes Hunter. Hunter is in there very quickly. Got away from a check thrown by Big Nyland. And the Blues on top of the puck, ramming from the blue line. Shot! Stopped by Reagan. A rebound is there. And the Leafs barely cleared to the line. Ramage golfed one. It goes high. It goes over the glass. Into the crowd. And the face-off will come outside the line with only a second left in the Maple Leaf penalty, so they've killed it.
And Wendell Clark is that player in the penalty box. A huge penalty-killing situation that the Leafs have proved here. Now remember, the Leafs have gone with 5 defensemen for much of this hockey game. Bob McGill not getting too much ice time. Somebody is down along the boards. Katsopoulos is helping him out. The training staff comes out off the bench. I'm not sure who it is or what happened. Now that shot was deflected by one of the Leaf players up high into the stands, and that faceoff will be just inside the Toronto blue line. And I'm not sure which player it is that's down.
I think maybe Daou.
Right.
He was on the ice as a penalty killer with Tyrion, and you're right about the faceoff. Apparently it did tick the Maple Leaf player before it went into the crowd, and the faceoff is going to be inside the line. There's Daou getting up now. It's very close now in Edmonton. Nearly as close here in St. Louis. The Leafs, 2. The Blues, no score. Game 2. Leafs trying to tie the series. Blues, Norwood soft shot, and Reggett looking very cool, just held it with Hunter in there pushing and shoving. And quickly the officials are in to get them apart, and nothing develops here. The question is now, the Leafs, having been solid defensively all evening, the question is, can they keep it up? They have another 7:27 remaining. If they can, they will have tied this series before going back to Toronto for Tuesday's game. Slated to start at 7:30 Eastern time, and we'll be on the air with that one. Norwood shot from the blue line. Missed on the short side. The Blues, though, carrying the play to the Maple Leafs now. The Leafs penalty over. They're at full strength again. Here's LaValle allowed to circle in front. And it comes back to the blue line. Natras now takes a shot. Oh, and it went right through everybody except Reggett. And he was standing there covering the angle again. Face off to the left of Reggett. Natras, the defenseman, back of the line along with Norwood. They tried to get it back to him, but the Leafs intercept. That is Fergus, and he's dumping it down the ice. That seems to be the plan of the Maple Leafs at this point. Up to goals, looking for a break, and here's Fergus maybe finding one. He gave it to Thomas. He was knocked off the puck, and the Blues Fedorko again coming out. Fedorko, nice play down the wing. That's LaValle coming in with the puck, had it poked away. Vive is hustling over there. Bumped Norwood. LaValle has it again, though. Backhands it in front. Reggett kicked it away. Got through everybody. LaValle again trying to center it. The Leafs hanging on now. It comes to the line. Natras a drive. That missed the net. Root on the other side gets it away for Vive, and he gets a chance to bring it out. Vive to Fergus. Back to Vive on the wing. Vive shot. That missed the goal. Here comes Salming keeping it in. Nearing the 14-minute mark of the third period. Dubney poking the puck loose. Dubney within a check in front. So is Freacher. He centered it. And Freacher went by the puck.
See, that puck's not laying down for anybody. Vives had shots off the wing. It's been rolling every time. Same as for the St. Louis Blues. That ice is bad.
Freacher for Salming. Salming shot. And that'll go into the crowd. Millen kicking the goal stick out and deflecting the puck into the crowd. Hockey night in Canada, a Stanley Cup tradition. Two to nothing the score, Maple Leafs. Inachak and Fergus, the goal scorers. Inachak in the second. Fergus here in the third. On a power play. The Blues now trying to move it up ice. They've been in there a few times. They've come close a few times. But Reggett has stood there. And he stopped everything so far. Now the Leafs shoot it in. They'll try to check the St. Louis Blues now. That's a little dose of the Blues medicine they're handing out at the moment.
We've obviously had a good day yesterday at practice and had some good instruction after watching the films. St. Louis not giving up though, Bob. They're working hard here.
Here comes Beers against Salming. That was Fergus getting back to help out in his own zone. Thomas is back there now, bumping with Ramage on the boards. The Blues try to knock it loose. Paslowski has it, centered it. And 5 again is there in good position to bring it out of the zone. 5 takes his time, dumping it in. The Leafs make quick changes now. 3:20 left.
Well, if you remember Game 1, St. Louis were very good when they moved the puck right across the entire side of the ice in that Toronto zone. This time those players are being checked and they can't make those long cross-ice passes.
Clark is bumped. Here's Bourgeois. Reckett stopped it. Look behind him, though. And the puck is finally cleared down the ice. Here comes Wendell Clark, forcing the goaltender Millen to play it. It would have been icing. Good hustle by Clark. 2:55 to play in the third period. And the Leafs lead 2-0. Threatening to tie the series here at St. Louis at a game each if they can hang on. Here's Hunter coming in. Lehman got back to Clark, down with Courtnall. Wendell Clark takes his time, comes in, dropped it to Courtnall. Courtnall going in, faked this shot, then he went in too far. Clark centered it. And the Blues can't get it out of their own zone. Courtnall again. Courtnall set it up for Lehman and Clark. Lehman shot, stopped by Millen. Norwood trying to poke it out. 2:25 to play, third period. And it's still 2-0 Toronto Maple Leafs. LaValle and Fedorko start up. That's LaValle in between the two blue lines. Carries on and Salming knocked it off his stick. Salming has been strong on the defense too tonight for Toronto. There's Salming going back, covering up for Iafrate. The netminder Millen is out of the net, going to the St. Louis bench, and Gilmore hops over the boards with a face-off coming up in the Leafs zone. 1:57 left. The net is empty for St. Louis. From the arena in St. Louis, this is Stanley Cup 86 on CBC.
Well, remember I mentioned that the shots were 30-15 in favor of Toronto. Since that part of the game, St. Louis has outshot the Leafs 20-8. Reggett's been good, and so have the defensemen. Now, the last time the Leafs shut out the opposition in a playoff game was April 21st, 1978. Mike Palmateer, a 2-0 victory in Maple Leaf Gardens against the New York Islanders.
1:57 left. The crowd making the noise again. The Blues with the extra man on. The Leafs have the net empty down at the other side. They'd love to get a shot at that to relieve the pressure, tie the series. Here come the Blues. Beers shot. Rebound is right there. Covering was Fergus, but he can't get it out of the zone. Beers lifted his stick. 1:40 to play. Regulation time. 2-0 Toronto. Net empty for the Blues. Ramage shot. Stopped in front. Scramble and went by Reggett. And Vibe gets a chance to dump it out. He went too high with it. It's over the glass into the crowd, and we're down to 1:31 left.
We talked about the Blues, how they worked. That was a 3-on-3 to the left of Ken Reggett in the corner. A 3-on-3 situation, and St. Louis came out with the puck. They get a good shot here, but watch the Maple Leafs again trying to take the body, and the puck that time squirted wide. Reggett again had position. Now we'll have a timeout.
30 seconds.
The Toronto Maple Leafs take advantage of it as that blue forechecking really put the pressure on Ken Reggett and those Toronto Maple Leafs.
Fergus, important face-off. He won the draw, but the Blues jump in on it with that extra man. Fedorko played it back in the net. Katsopoulos is there. Chance for Dow to move it out, and he couldn't. Katsopoulos couldn't see it. Beers shot missed the net. 1:20 left to play. And the Leafs get a chance to clear it again. They do. It's going toward the empty net. Score! It's cleared. Not a good play, mind you, by Salming, because if icing had been called, if it missed the net, it would have come back inside the Leaf line, but it worked out. That went right in between the two pipes, and it's 3-0 Toronto. And with 1:13 left, that goal at 18:47, John, you can put this one in the books.
I think this was more just desperation by Salmi. He makes a great play with his open hand, knocked the puck down, and in desperation, he knew he was going to be hit. He just threw the puck out, and it ended up going in the other team's net. What's important now, I would say, for the Leafs, are they going to get the shutout? Ken Reggett never had one in National Hockey League action. You saw Salmi take the check to get the puck out, and remember, he didn't try to knock the puck down with his hockey stick. He took one hand off the stick and knocked it down that way. And I'll tell you what, the Leafs are going to have themselves a big victory here against a hard-working St. Louis Blues hockey club.
You know they won't relax to help Reggett get a shutout with now 1 minute remaining in regulation time. Millen, by the way, is back in the nets for St. Louis. Empty net goal by Salming here in the late stages. at 18:47, and it's 3-0. 50 seconds left. In the third period, the Blues did everything. They outshot the Maple Leafs 15-8, but they didn't get the goal they wanted. The Leafs did. A power play goal by Fergus and an empty netter by the Maple Leafs defenseman Borje Salming. Now 30 seconds left. And the Leafs have tied the series at 1-1 before shifting back to Toronto, and Hockey Night in Canada will be on the air with that one at 7:30 Eastern Time. And don't forget to stay tuned for our Molson 3 Stars at the end of this game. Clark is in there. Didn't get a shot. Comes back in front with 10 seconds left. Fans leaving the arena here in St. Louis now. Puck comes up to Barr. Barr stopped. Wendell Clark couldn't move. 2 seconds left. Horn goes. Wendell Clark has himself a shutout. His first. He's happy. So are the Leafs. They've tied the series, JD. At a game each. That's what they wanted here in St. Louis.
Well, I'll tell you what, all season long they talked about the Leafs being unpredictable. They'd win by big scores, 9-7, 9-8. They come in here and were outstanding in shutting out the St. Louis Blues. Dan Maloney and his staff had them prepared. It seems to me they stayed to that game plan. You know, Bob, in the first period, lots of penalties. Second period, so-so. In the third period, very few. I think that physical play helped the Leafs early.
And won the game and tied the series. The final score is Toronto 3, St. Louis 0. Our Stanley Cup playoff coverage continues in a moment.
Tom Fergus makes it 2-0, and Borje Salming salts it away with an empty net goal as the Leafs even the best of 7 series at a game apiece. Let's go to Dave Hodge now, standing by with goaltender Ken Reagan.
Well, as thrills go, the Chicago series is ancient history. This has to top everything you did in that series, certainly because of the shutout, if nothing else.
Well, that's for sure. Our team's coming out there playing real well here, and with Calgary beating Edmonton, anything can happen. So we're going out giving it our all, and hopefully we can come out ahead.
How many times did you look around you, behind you, underneath you, and think that the puck might have been in the net? There were a few close calls.
That's for sure. In the second period there, the puck hit me, and I thought it was going behind, so I let go, and I turned around, and the puck ended up reaching my pad, and it almost went in the net. So it's a close call there, and if they would have scored, that could have turned the game around.
And everybody says a hot goaltender can make a difference in a playoff series, and just after that is said, somebody does come up, and usually there is at least one goaltender in each series that is hot. What makes it easier to play goal better in the playoffs?
I think what you got to do is relax. I'm not very much of a veteran. I've only played 5 games now, and I just try to hold everything, try to relax, not give up too many rebounds. Just hold everything and rely on your defense. Our defense is playing real well. They're helping me out, and they're bailing me out lots of times. So I think that's the key for us.
But do you feel sharper now than at any other time in the season? And perhaps one reason is that you're playing game in and game out. But do you feel as though you're a better goaltender now than you were any other time of the year?
I had a pretty good season starting off. I was a little injury prone, getting hurt my knees here and there, but things went pretty good all year. Right now, the team's playing well, and they're helping me out. I feel pretty good now. I think I still got a little bit to work on, and I got room to improve for sure. So right now, we're just holding our own and trying to do our best.
Did you expect a much better performance from the team tonight? Did that feeling go with you out to the ice to start this game?
I think so. We started off pretty slow the last game. I think that week layoff may have hurt us. I think the longer the series goes, the better off we're going to have, because St. Louis played their 5 games against Minnesota, and they really took it out on each other. And the longer this goes, the better it is going to be for our team.
The Leafs win it 3-0. The series is deadlocked at a game apiece. You're watching Molson Canadian Sunday Night Classics on Leafs TV. A big win, Bobby, and a solid performance by everyone.
Well, it was. I think defensively it was just a gem. Everybody came tonight in this game here, knowing that we were down. After winning 3 games in a row, we were on a very emotional high going into St. Louis, and we really got our butts kicked in the first game. And for us to pick ourselves up and let's make sure that we go back to Toronto with a 1-1 tie in the series. I think today showed really the testament of this hockey team that, we had a lot of character and we had a lot of heart, and proved it here in this game by, I think, a very convincing and solid effort.
All right, we talked about 17 goals in the first one. I do suppose out of 1,700 minutes and penalties, you do remember the first time you had to drop the gloves in the NHL.
Actually, not really the first time.
Not the first time, but you do remember a lot of other times.
Yeah, lots of memorable ones.
Mr. Probert, you seem to run into on a fairly regular basis.
Well, I did, and I think it's probably about 6 times I think I fought him in all, and he was a scary guy, and a few times.
You were a scary guy.
Yeah, but at 6'1", 190 pounds, I wasn't too scary compared to a guy like Probert at 6'3" or 4" at 225. But I held my own. I mean, I didn't back down from anybody, and sometimes I paid for it in certain ways because I was stupid enough to keep getting back up and get knocked down again. But overall, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Bobby, what are you doing these days?
Well, right now I'm kind of in between jobs. I was coaching in the OHL last year and lost my job, and certainly looking to stay involved in the game. And we'll see how things go as the season begins.
You're living up in God's country, I hear?
I am up in the Holland Landing, Newmarket area. Enjoy it up there. The kids are starting back at school, and my son's actually over in Russia right now playing hockey with his junior team. He plays for the Aurora Tigers. And,
great.
They went over there for a little preseason romp, and is looking forward to it. But it'll be fun watching him this year and getting back involved and watching the NHL happen.
All right, yeah. You got it. All right, Bob McGill has been our very special guest. We've taken Bobby all the way back to April 20th, 1986, as he and the Leafs beat the St. Louis Blues 3-0 to even the Norris Division best-of-7 series at a game apiece. You've been watching Molson Canadian Sunday Night Classics on Leafs TV.